notification?
None. And we are live. I'm here with a couple of individuals. I have basically
No
formulated.
introduction needed.
Yeah, no introduction needed. They're backed by popular demand. I've concocted what is essentially ratings gold automatically. It is Alf Benny from
uh,
the great state, the Show Me State. No, the Garden State.
Yeah, the Garden
The
State.
Garden State, even though
What's up, guys?
he is of his descent is Peruvian. Some say Mexican. Um,
Yeah.
I think he passes as like Puerto Rican or Hispanic, general Hispanic.
General Hispanic. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can see that.
and he is with us. Hi, say hello, Alf.
What's up, guys?
Also, we have with us a rare treat. Um,
hmm.
his name is Marino. I just visited him in Toronto, and he is in the middle of a polar vortex, but he is kind enough to be here with us to share his thoughts. Marino, say hello.
Hello.
Awesome. We have 51 people watching our inane babble.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you what we're doing. We're going to go into. We just watched something very horrific, but that's it's not really the right word. It was Mandy, this movie by this Greek guy, Panos, and it came on my radar because I think maybe Phil and Selma and I talked about it once. We saw the trailer for it, but the trailer is kind of fucked up in and of itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
Devin,
Yeah, you
Devin,
could
have
tell
you
a lot of the
seen
time.
Mandy?
Devin,
Yeah.
have you seen a movie called The Slippery Eels of just yeah, it was. We just watched it. Um, give me your initial thoughts on it. Like, give me your just random word association. What do you feel right now?
I think I want to see it again, but I think it was a great looking movie. I don't know what the message behind it was. I think it was a revenge story.
So
I mean, I've heard people talk about it saying it might be an acid trip. She might not really be dead. Blah blah blah. This, that, the other. But I don't buy it.
it was all a symbolic thing, an
Yeah,
analogy.
I think it was an artsy. It was an
Yeah.
artsy. That's how I see it.
What do you think? I mean, you like visuals. You appreciate visuals, but
Mhm.
these
The music was
visuals,
good too.
they had a real angle to them. I mean, it wasn't trying to be beautiful per se. There was some beauty in it, but all that
Yeah.
beauty was sort of drowned out by the tone. I feel like the pacing was very deliberate, very
Yeah. It
agonizingly
builds up,
slow.
right? Like the first half is it really slow, and it slowly starts building into chaos, right?
Mhm.
And that's a different kind of thing because when you have horror and you extend it and just take your time with it, that becomes agonizing in and of itself.
Yeah.
It's like I just want out of this environment that I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah, it unnerves you, right? You feel off. And you're like, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah. Oh, spoiler. Yeah, we don't want to give too many spoilers.
Oh, yeah, true, true.
I mean, the basic gist of it is though it's a revenge type movie. I don't think
Yeah.
that's. And we were commenting on how that is popular just as a theme.
Yeah.
Take out
Yeah.
this genre, maybe even within action films you have tons of revenge plots,
Mhm.
but what about like comedy or even romantic sort of stuff? Could you see a revenge plot in a romantic comedy?
Sure.
So like the guy that
Yeah.
dumps you or fucks you over, you get
Yeah.
back at him at the end somehow.
Mhm. Everyone has their list.
When was the last romantic comedy that was good?
Okay. I haven't seen one in
Well,
forever.
yeah, but you guys are you're
Punch Drunk Love. Didn't I just mention that before?
Oh, yeah, that was a good movie. I like that one.
Yeah.
really. I don't think I saw it.
Yeah.
Who's in it?
It's great. It's Adam
Oh,
Sandler
Adam
and
Sandler.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
As a gay couple?
No.
No. It's not a comedy either. That was like the first movie Adam Sandler did that wasn't a comedy at
So
all.
Yeah.
then let me ask you guys, as a viewer of horror as a genre,
Mhm.
like why
Mhm.
did we just watch that? Because it doesn't make you feel good. Like it doesn't leave you optimistic or hopeful or happy.
Do you think
So
it was a horror? Do you consider that a horror movie?
I would say it's more within the
Like
realm of
horror, yeah. Horror
drug,
action.
gore. Dr- uh,
Yeah. What's the?
Psychedelic horror action. That's what you call it.
I mean, I think one of my main criticisms of it, I mean, not to go critical instantly, but it is the same criticism I have for a lot of horror films, which is why? Like,
Why?
why did it happen? Why did these wrongs get committed? And I'm usually left without feeling satisfied with the answers provided. And
Yeah, it's usually a thing of like, well, they're just evil.
yeah, and that's the thing. It's like maybe that is the message, but that
Well,
message is
was there
empty.
an allusion to the they were talking about the particular type of acid they were given that made them go nuts? Was that
Yeah. Well, we
did I read that right?
we
Where
met
they
we met the dude who made it, and he didn't seem to be
yeah.
too balanced.
No, he was slightly off.
Only
You could see
slightly.
that.
He needed a couple
Yeah,
tweaks.
just a little bit.
He kept in good shape.
He did let the tiger go.
Yeah. What was that? Just a
Hmm.
That was just
Yeah,
humanitarian
that
act?
that was how long they can afford the tiger for the movies.
Mhm.
I mean, do you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying though?
he made one past movie Beyond the Black Rainbow, and that has to I think that has to do with like cults as well. Then maybe this guy has an issue with like cults and
See,
Mm.
stuff like that.
I think it would be helpful to see an interview of this guy just to see how his mind works and to understand
Hmm.
who he is. And then it would probably put this film in perspective. Like I remember seeing Quentin Tarantino and just listening to that guy talk and seeing how his brain sort of autistically just bounces around.
Yeah,
And I don't know, it informed every future Quentin Tarantino movie I saw. Like I just
yeah,
felt
it
like I knew
does.
the guy. But half the time, these dudes are behind the scenes, like the writers, the directors, and you just have
How
no
many?
sense. Hmm.
So go ahead.
No, I'm done.
I was gonna say, how many movies has this guy done?
This is his
Hmm.
second movie
So
ever.
it's only a second. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
He's the son of a director though, so he is like a Hollywood kid. You know,
so this shit must be way underground. Like this movie is not a
this one
mainstream.
this one was more. I wouldn't say it's super underground. It's not mainstream like you said, but it's been passed around, like it's been advertised and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
his
Is
first
it? Is it?
movie, like I didn't even hear about it till like years after it came out. I was like, what? You know, and I'm into this scene, so I didn't even hear about it till way later.
What a weird.
the-
Oh my God, Grant, what are your criticisms of my criticism? That was a Josh Banko quote. Nice. Um, one of the weird things about a film like this is like they decide to put that intro or just the word
Mhm.
Mandy like in the must have been 2/3 of the way through the movie.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah.
What?
It was about 2/3.
And then they had all these animated sequences, so he
I
just
think the
fucked with
animated
reality.
sequences was his dreams, right? Every time he was knocked out, he had
Well,
one
the
of those
funny,
animation
you never get a
sequences.
sense that you're in the real world. A lot of it's sort of dream
No, yeah,
sequency, drugged out. Until for me, like the first time I felt I was in the real world was when the lights were on and we were in the bathroom with Nicolas Cage in his underwear.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
It's like that's for me
yeah.
the movie. Okay,
Yeah.
I just woke up from something. I mean,
You.
I think that was the same with him, though. I think he just kind of woke up from something, right? Like that
Cheese
experience had brought
commercial.
him to
yeah,
life. Yeah, so he started chugging that like whatever that was, the booze,
I love the fact
to
that
put himself back into that.
he had that black friend who's just like you walk over to his trailer and you're like, I need weapons. I'm going hunting.
Mm.
Yeah,
And he's just like, oh, I got your back. Here's some bone piercing uh, arrows for your
yeah.
compound crossbow.
Whistle.
Yeah, that was so dark.
And he was like, Jesus freaks. He was like, "Oh, is it Jesus? I didn't know it was Jesus freaks hunting season."
I
It's
feel. I
like that's,
feel like I've
Mm,
seen this
like
movie
it's happened
before.
before.
Like I think this
uh-huh.
sort
Yeah.
of thing has been
Well,
done
it
a
is a
thousand
callback to
times.
like the '80s. Yeah, it's a callback
Yeah,
to like,
70s
especially
and
I could
80s.
especially feel like that Italian horror movie feel from it. You
Yeah,
know, like
it's a bit
with
like
the long break.
Suspiria, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, with the long takes and the colors and stuff like that.
Hmm.
It's definitely a callback to that.
It also
Yeah,
sort
Certainly a
of
fan of that.
it spits on the reputation of cults and
yeah.
hippies and drug culture.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mm.
like I'm not a big proponent of LSD, but surely it's not that bad. Like it can't be that bad.
No, no, that had to be some special LSD they were making. They were like mixing concoctions. That one guy that had the mason jar full of that weird liquid and
Hmm.
took a pinky drop of it, remember? And like
Yeah.
Yeah.
blew his mind.
So
And I
I'm
was
I'm
like, dude,
assuming
that's a weird concoction of shit. Like who knows?
that's what they dropped into her eye at the
Yeah,
beginning,
probably.
and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
they
And
got
then
her.
mixed
Yeah.
it with the sting of
Yeah.
that bug too.
I don't. I mean, it was an okay film. It was
Yeah.
fun. I don't think it was particularly original.
Mm.
Well,
I
No,
mean,
no,
it's all
it's
things
definitely
we've
it's
seen
definitely like
before.
an homage film, you know.
Yeah,
100%, it's an homage to stuff.
you
yeah.
don't think that the gay sort of twist at the end was a nice touch?
Yeah,
The gay twist.
but
Oh, and he.
that that hippie cult leader dude. I mean, he was probably
Yeah,
into all
yeah.
types of shit. Like who knows, goats and
You know, it'd be awesome if the whole thing was a commercial for erectile dysfunction.
yeah.
Mm.
But at the end, it ends with him going to the pharmacy to pick up Viagra.
Dude, I'm getting some super chats. This is awesome.
Yeah.
You know
Read
why?
it. Do it.
Because Alf and Marina are
Yeah,
here with
Yeah,
me.
because we're
yeah.
I'm just
So I'll
writing.
take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys agreed to 5% each. 5 loaves of bread.
You're you're larping on the
I
shoulder
love some bread.
Yeah,
giants.
LARPing. He asks, "Can I be conservative and atheist?" Yes.
No.
Nope. Well, you could be, yeah, conservative and atheist. Sure. I mean, the issue is, I've always said religion is not a political issue. I've always said like politics. We've had politics forced down our throats. Hardly anybody is
Mm.
politically aware or
Yeah.
politically active. Who cares? At what point have you been tickled by the prospect of politics being like a
Hmm.
major part of your
I
life?
thought I thought that's why we had politicians so they can handle the politics.
Hmm. Yeah, and it's also just insanely boring. There's a reason why C-SPAN gets no ratings. Gets the same ratings as
Yeah.
this stream, actually. It's a similar viewer base. But hold on, we're drifting off topic. Let's get back to Mandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, I was gonna say, although what you were saying about it being nothing new, it is something we don't get very often anymore. Is movies like that?
of course, because who's the market for that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think a big studio. I don't. Maybe I'm wrong. Was it a?
No, no, it's not a huge
No.
studio. It's like one of these underground ones, but not so
Yeah.
underground, you know. Like, and they had enough of a budget to make it
But I
work.
have heard a lot about it. I don't know if it's because of the guys like you and Gangle.
Yeah, probably it's
Can,
getting a lot of praise.
But yeah.
can you imagine the sequel to this? What would you do with that
Yeah,
character if you had another two
yeah.
hours?
I was thinking about that the whole time watching the movie this time. I was like, "What? Where would you go from here? Like, he already got everything he wanted. You know, the whole plot's resolved, right?"
Well,
I think you just take out the whole fucking town. Honestly.
keep going.
Just yeah.
Yeah, I don't think his drug use during the film was going to help him. He put his
No.
job in jeopardy. Like, how's that going to be patched up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely not passing a drug test now.
I think
Mhm.
he might have to move locations and start dating again.
You brought up during the movie, yeah, like, what's it gonna be like dating this guy? He comes with so much
Yeah.
baggage.
Yeah.
But
Imagine his Tinder profile.
Yeah,
I guess this is the opposite of wearing rose-colored glasses when you look at life, and maybe
Yeah.
that's horror in general. Like, if you wanted to frame life and your daily existence in a dark way, you could do it easily. Like right now, you and I, all of us, we could look up murder stories, rape stories,
hmm,
natural
Mhm.
disasters. I mean, we could focus and harp on our own aging, our own mortality.
Go on Discord.
Yeah, yeah, right. Just it is a dark place. Like, even looking at YouTube comments, or just at the internet in general, there's a bunch of fucked up stuff going on there of just toxic shit. And
Yeah.
so it's all a matter of the perspective you choose. And I think for a healthy person, they watch horror, they put a toe into horror only to sort of keep aware that the darkness is there, but then at the end of it choose to not make that be the sort of framework in
yeah,
which they view their life.
yeah, yeah. Basically,
But the, the
some
other the other thing
fascination.
is,
I think
go
some
ahead.
people just have that morbid fascination that they like to have sated. I guess,
Mm.
like a
Mhm.
curiosity towards darkness and stuff.
But then again, the danger is if you lie to yourself, if you don't look at,
Hmm.
like, for example, a good litmus test is the ISIS beheading videos.
Right.
Each one of
Yeah,
us had to decide, do we want to click that link and watch that?
yeah,
And if so, how many times and why? And if you're going to ignore
Right.
them, and I've chosen to ignore them from now on, why am
yeah.
I okay? Can I rationalize that decision?
You have seen them though, right? Some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I've
They're
imagine,
seen
really
like one or
freaky.
two, and I was like, I don't ever need
They're
to see
really
any
freaky
ever
because
again.
they're so well made.
yeah,
Like
HD.
the yeah. So it
I've seen
almost looks like
one.
you're watching a film.
One I saw was in that fast motion capture where it's like super slow. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Just
Well, and
I
then
didn't see every. scale of it, it was like, oh god, I don't ever want to see this again.
Yeah, they're not great.
Recently, they killed and beheaded 2 women in Morocco, and
I didn't see that
Yeah,
one
yeah, I
because
didn't watch
I'd
it.
seen enough before that, so I'm like, oh,
yeah,
I don't need to
yeah.
see it.
Somebody was passing around the link. I was like, I'm not interested.
Right. So, what kind of a person would you have to be to engage in that on a daily or weekly basis, where you just say,
Oh, daily? Oh
Oh
well,
god.
God,
just be
no.
like, well, I mean, imagine those dudes on Reddit or 4chan. They're clicking every link. They don't give a shit.
Oh yeah. Do
Some,
you remember Rotten.com? That was like a
mm-hmm,
big thing
yep.
back in the
Yeah,
day. And that was like where you would just see images. And that's not even as bad as seeing it in video, but even back then it was like after a while of searching through that site, you were like, all right, that's it.
Well, so maybe now in the age of the internet, where we have access to real horror, real gore, watching a horror film, a fictional film, is like fucking really a G-rated thing for you to do.
well, I wonder if
Yeah.
that's why they've kind of gotten shit, and people don't really like. You
Mm,
always hear the discussion of like, when who's seen a good horror movie lately,
okay, so you're saying,
and everyone always points to stuff like, oh, The Exorcist or oh, The Omen, like stuff that's 30
yeah,
years old.
and I think you raise a point, which is that back then it was novel, it was new,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
because you couldn't click on a
Mhm.
4chan link or a live leak
No.
back then.
No.
So now horror has the competition of real life.
Yeah.
So what
Mhm.
is
Real
that?
life at your fingertips.
Right. I mean, for example, some people criticize, like, have you guys seen The West Wing?
No.
It's been a while.
Okay, but like The West Wing,
Boomer.
yeah, it had some positive things about it, and it was fun and whatnot. But the dialogue wasn't that realistic. Like the people were too smart,
Mm.
too quick, too funny. It wasn't naturalistic dialogue. And similarly, life is not like a romantic comedy. Nobody's that funny in your life.
Yeah.
Things aren't cute and charming and whimsical. So that's why people go to see a romantic comedy, because life is not competing with romantic comedies. Like
Yeah.
it's an altered state of reality.
Oh,
Life.
someone in the chat just sorry, go ahead,
No, no,
Dylan.
no, that's fine.
Someone in the chat mentioned Under the Skin. That I love that
What
movie.
is that?
I still haven't seen that. I want to see that.
Oh, I love it. You I
Scarlett
don't know if you guys will
Johansson.
like it, but it's Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We've talked
I
about that.
love that
Yeah, yeah.
movie. Yeah. It's very bizarre, very art. I think it's far better than this though. I
Well,
think anyways. I
I still
mean,
gotta watch that. Let's see.
I think a lot of these movies they rely on and they use the fact that they don't explain shit to you. Like, for example,
mhm.
in this movie, they capture this woman, they bring out a big ass wasp or whatever, and they have it sting her neck, and we're left. Nobody explains that ever. It's
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
like that just happened. Same thing with Under the Skin. Hardly anything is explained in that movie. You're just basically you
Yeah.
start and you're in a state of confusion and ignorance, and
Right.
you end and there's still a million questions.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
the whole thing of
But
like,
the ride is really good.
mm, I th-
Yeah.
I think that being cryptic and sort of being more mysterious is advantageous for filmmakers
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
because
It's the same with books too. I feel the same way
but
with most stories.
there's a lot of things that kind of go the Scooby Doo route where they have a scene at the end where you unmask
Right.
the villain and everything's explained, or the villain gives a speech. They do their rant.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did you see Hereditary?
Not yet.
Mm.
Don't ruin it.
Oh no. Okay. Yeah. No, I'm not going to. I was gonna
That's a
make an
good
example.
film. That's a good
Yeah.
film, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from what I hear, from what I gather, it has a new take. It's original. It's not just a remake of a similar of an old concept.
No. It leaves you guessing. That's for sure.
Okay, I'd like
Does
that.
it though? I
I
mean,
thought it did till like
okay, I won't say
to a
anymore.
certain point.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I got to see that.
All
Um,
right, so that's it. Good night.
oh
Marino's done.
my God, Marino had a little emergency earlier. He sort of
Mm.
scared us. There was a massive explosion outside of his house.
Yeah, there was a car fire outside on the street, so it kind of freaked me out in the middle of
Right,
Mandy too.
but it
What
was
the fuck was
it,
happening?
it was in the middle of a chainsaw fight. Like it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
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 And I learned something about chainsaw fights, and that is the shorter, lighter chainsaw has an
Mhm.
advantage
Yeah.
in hand-to-hand
Cer-
chainsaw combat.
Certainly seems that way. Keep that in mind.
But the other thing that I thought was funny was Nicolas Cage. He starts his revenge tour, and
Mhm.
he thinks he's doing well, but then he instantly gets captured again, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Because usually
Yeah.
when the guy has done his training montage and he's like, okay, now it's time for me to fuck shit up. It's just ceaseless destruction, and you know the guy's untouchable. You know he's going to win at the end.
Yeah.
Right. So what do we make of those bikers? Those
I,
what were they? Who were they?
I think
What
so,
the
so,
deal?
somebody brought up that they remind me of the guys from Weird Science.
I did. I saw
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Weird
It's the
science.
same guys. It's just the evolution of those dudes.
Yeah.
But
What did they represent? Is there
Yeah, it was weird,
something,
right? They called them with the conch. They like blew the
well,
conch and
let's
like
start by
yeah.
saying I think it's safe to say they're MAGA dudes.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah.
for sure,
secret.
Republicans.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Guaranteed. 100% Trump voters.
yeah. I mean, biker gangs are kind of fucked up. Actually, there's a new show with Killer Mike on Netflix, and
Mhm.
he's doing some sticky bullshit about being kind of a race vulture, but he he goes, look, hey, Hell's Angels is this white biker gang, and they sell merch. They have like T-shirts and products and leather or whatever. He goes, and I think the Crips should do that. The Crips should be selling like Crip Cola and stuff. But like there are biker gangs, and biker gangs. I haven't watched that TV show. What's that one about biker gangs?
Sons of Anarchy.
Yeah, but I gather that they're into sort of drugs and prostitution and racketeering and
Yeah, basically.
Yep.
right. But it's kind of low level. It's not like the mafia,
It's kind of big here in Canada.
is it? Well,
Yeah,
I
look
know.
it
It
up.
used to be big here in the States. I don't know how big it is
Well,
anymore.
they have it, but I feel like they stay in their niche. Like they do their sort of white trash shit, but it's not crazy. They're not like
No, I think
imperialistic.
don't they work with the mob? I
Can,
think
I
they
have
do.
no
can we
idea.
just call them the mob? Are they just the
Yeah,
leather mob?
I don't know.
leather mop.
All I'm saying is they have a lifestyle that is, you know, what is it about? It's about they're
Hmm.
transient. They're into cars. I mean, Maria, it's closer to you than anybody really. These
Yeah,
guys.
I don't like Harleys.
You don't like the
Uh, I don't
sus-
like Harley Davidsons.
why the suspension or axle?
No, I just don't like them. All bark, no bite. Fight me.
Well, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the noise. Honestly, I wish I had a crossbow every time I hear a motorcycle go by. One of
Yeah, they're
those
loud as fuck.
obnoxious ones. You don't hear them in Europe, actually. That's an American thing.
Yeah,
Like, there's
Yeah,
no
oh, they're
chance
so
some
annoying.
guy's going to be revving up some massive motorcycle through Switzerland. Just, I mean, that to me is a real penis compensator.
Yeah.
Not
yeah.
not just the
Well,
motorcycle, but the loud motorcycle. Like, what are you doing?
I have issues with Switzerland. So,
Oh, do you? Right.
No.
well, they've banned motorsports there, so
Oh.
That's a bad move. That's a bad one.
that is really stupid. Yeah.
But it's like
Yeah.
the sound of the motorcycle comes from their crotch. So it's almost like their dick is screaming to the world, "Notice me."
They do call them crotch rockets, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, the sport bikes, they call them crotch rock.
How's
So,
what?
no, I was just gonna say, so what do we make of these
Oh yeah,
bikers?
yeah.
What were they?
If
Yeah.
anything, to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, they represent something. To take them as just a literal group of demonic,
Yeah.
acid infused psychopaths,
Yeah,
they were messy as fuck. They don't know how to clean up their house.
yeah. No, it was horrid.
They hardly seemed human though. So maybe the
Right.
message is if you delve into the darkness of the human spirit, the human soul, and if you add fucked up drugs to that process, you end up being a totally contorted, barely recognizable version of a human being.
Yeah, he turned into a monster, right?
And well,
So,
hmm,
is that what happened to him? Because his voice again
hmm,
Yeah, it
started to
started
sound
to, right?
I think that was
It's like,
just Nick
yeah.
Cage. I think he wasn't even acting
Yeah.
at that point. Um,
Yeah, but it's kind of like he had to delve into the darkness himself to be able to defeat them.
right.
He had
So,
to go sink to their.
I mean, on some level, most stories, especially film, is a analysis of the human condition. It's an insight into what
Yeah.
makes us tick. And this is obviously a grim version of that. I mean, was there any positive characters in here? Was it Nicolas Cage did let a woman go free?
Yeah,
That was goodness that he represented. Like he wasn't vindictive in that moment.
I thought he was gonna kill her.
Same here. I kind of wanted it.
Yeah, yeah,
I thought she was going to smile or be like, "Thank you," say something like "Thank you" right before he did it.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, because we've seen this in other films, but I'm tempted to bring up the zombie metaphor because zombies had a real resurgence, and zombies are not just zombies. zombies represent something else about how we view our own selves or how we view other people. Maybe it's the fact that there's 7 billion people on the planet, and
Mhm.
7 billion of them are strangers to us. We know
Yeah.
like a very small fraction of the people out there. Sometimes I actually feel guilty when I'm walking around and I'm ignoring human beings, which is a daily occurrence.
Right.
I feel like these people are, very. I'm not respecting them by ignoring them.
Y You're like, "Do they even know who I am?"
Right? I have over 100,000 subs for fuck's sake. Like, come on. Um, no, but you know what I'm saying? Like, imagine if you're sitting on a subway and
Good
there's
God.
there's one other person in the subway with you, and you have a 10-minute ride ahead of you, and you actively choose to not say hello to that person.
Right.
Now, maybe that's more rare in Canada, but in Jersey, Alf would tell you that.
No, you don't say hi to people on the
No.
subway here or on the streets here.
And what's interesting is, especially let's say it's a girl, if you were to say
Yeah.
hi, they would
No.
assume you're a psycho. Like
Right.
they're gonna assume the worst of your
Yeah.
humanity, which is what we're talking about with this horror shit.
Mhm.
Like we're buying SIM cards today, me and my girlfriend at a supermarket, and
Mhm.
we're waiting for a colleague, some guy that works at the supermarket, to come and help us with the setup. And I take off my jacket, my winter jacket, and I'm trying to like mess with my shoulder because my shoulder's been hurting me. And I have a t-shirt on and a beanie, and I'm sort of moving my arm around like this. And my girlfriend goes, Devin, what are you doing? Like, you're scaring people. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And she's like, you're like this bald, like muscle guy, and like you're moving your arms around, like your people are alarmed. Like, chill. And tw- she was like 20% kidding. Like she was like, you look intimidating. All right, just you don't realize it. And she wanted me to like
Oh
put my
shit.
jacket back on, and it was just weird. I was like, what? My shoulder hurts. And I turned it into a joke, but she sensed the darkness within me. She
Oh
sensed that I had
shit.
a little Nick Cage in me.
Right,
Wow.
right, yeah.
I mean, how about you? Do you guys ever position yourself in the role of the hero? So, what would you do if you were Nick Cage in this story?
Oh shit.
Well, I suggested you go
Probably
to the cops.
Yeah.
I'd probably do the same thing.
Yeah, I'd probably do
I
the
mean,
same.
look
But
at
I,
what he
I,
witnessed, right?
Well,
I don't think I'd kill
uh,
them so quickly. I think I'd
Yeah.
torture them for
I'd
days.
probably be at least 3 bodies in before this is a bad idea.
well, the thing is, I like the style that the director had because he could have had him go for a gun, you know,
Right,
Yeah.
just
right,
pull
yeah,
out some AK. But
yeah,
there's no, I don't
yeah,
know.
you did it with a bit of style. It
Yeah,
was,
you need more savagery to it. He was
yeah.
beheading people, and I thought it was a pretty ballsy move for that old gray-haired woman to
Mm,
attempt to sexually seduce him.
Yeah.
yeah.
That was falling on deaf ears like I've never
She
seen
was
before.
really, really giving him a
Yeah,
resume.
Yeah.
she's
Good at
like,
this, I'm good at that.
she's like, she's like 65 years old easily, and she's talking to Nick Cage, trying to seduce him, and talking about how I, I'm very sensual, I'm very attentive
Mhm.
lover.
I can, uh, telegraph your next move or
Yeah,
whatever. What did she said something
well,
like that. I was like, "Well,
it's not that
God."
hard to figure out. My next move is to put my dick in your vagina. It's not that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Um, but she started that with an opening sentence. Jeremiah says I'm his favorite lover, or something.
yeah.
That's a bad way to try to convince me of something.
M Meanwhile, the movie opened with him calling her.
You
Do
broke
you
up.
remember that scene?
Calling her a what?
The an idiot. Don't you remember that scene near
Mm.
the beginning when he was saying you're next?
To
Oh,
who?
you fucked up again. To the old hair, the old lady.
Who said that? Oh, why?
The the
Yeah.
cult leader.
What did she
Remember
do
he was
wrong?
lying on the couch? They didn't get into it, but
Okay, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw recently another cult leader in a movie called, I watched it on the airplane, the Bad Times at the El Royale.
Oh yeah. I've seen the trailers for that.
Yeah, it was good. It's actually
Yeah, I should check that out.
I knew the guy who wrote it, the guy named Drew Goddard. He did,
Yeah, I've heard his name before. He's done a couple things, right?
yeah, he's done a bunch of shit. He used to write for Lost. I've actually hung
Yeah,
out,
yeah.
I played video games with him at his house. We have a mutual friend.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well,
and he did this one, Cabin on the Hill. No,
yeah. Oh no,
Cabin.
Cabin in the
Yeah,
Woods.
there it is.
That's a good one. I like that
I just mixed House on Haunted Hill with Cabin in the Woods.
one. Yeah,
Um,
Cabin in the Hills.
Cabin in the Haunted Hills. Um, yeah, so he had some original action, but in that film, there's a cult leader played by Chris Helmsworth, who, it's all just fucked up. And what are
Really?
these cults? These cults are all about sex. Like
Yeah,
that,
usually.
it's a big front.
Yeah.
And even if he went to like David Koresh in Waco, right? He had
Yeah.
children with the women there, like
Was
multiple
Jim
women.
Jones like that too? Was he doing the whole sex thing too?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not sure.
What is the point of having power if you aren't having sex?
Mm.
Yeah,
Is that a valid question? I
I
mean,
think so.
that's the question that like Bill Clinton asked himself.
Yeah,
He was like, "I'm the fucking president." Like, um, do you think Donald Trump is having an affair or multiple affairs in the White House currently? Do you think that will come out at some point? And obviously,
shit.
he could come out with that news at a press conference himself, and nobody would care.
I honestly don't even think he's having sex with Melissa.
Of course, but that's what I'm saying. He's obviously not sleeping with her. So, do you think he has some side chicks who are sort of, ex beauty pageant, whatever, porn stars, and he has them under some strict ass NDA? Just
Maybe, I don't know.
what you don't what you think he's playing it like a Boy Scout?
No, I don't know.
It's just that gross.
Yeah, he's a fucking
It's hard to
moron.
imagine anybody wanting to
Yeah.
touch it.
I mean, what are the odds he's fucked in the Oval Office?
Uh,
Anybody?
zero.
Himself.
I bet he's
Himself.
never. Yeah, himself for sure.
What do you think Trump masturbates to?
Obama.
Now we're getting into horror.
Obama. Ugh,
I mean,
Oh,
Hillary.
a mirror. Hillary. Yeah, he's God. Is he messed up? I'm so out of touch though with all the drama, like the scandals. It's feels like a never-ending stream of scandals and bad omens and signs that he should be impeached at any time.
yeah, there's stuff building up though.
Actually, a lot of the shots of Nicolas Cage in this movie with him bleeding and gritting his teeth, it,
Mhm.
it reminds me of looking at Trump's face. Like that to me feels it's a very uncomfortable feeling. It's a similar feeling I had.
You get the same feeling.
Yeah, I can't stomach it, man. So do you think this guy Panos? What does he move on to from here? Does he?
Well, he's done two movies that are like horror-ish and have to deal with cults. So I
Hmm.
don't know if he's gonna stick with cults, but I'm pretty sure he'll stick to the
Oh,
horror and grotesque
oh, he's
aspect.
pigeonholed. Yeah, but we
Do you
gotta
think
Seems to be
so?
what he likes to make.
Or he'll get picked up by some huge studio and he'll do like
Yeah,
a
that's
romantic
possible.
comedy or a
Yeah.
super weird.
I just think that what Marino said earlier about this being somewhat, an homage or formulaic, it
Hmm.
wasn't that new. I mean, some of the visuals and the style was new, but it was obviously this guy has inspirations. Um, that is disappointing in the sense that what we crave, I think, not just as horror fans, but as any fan, is something original.
Yeah.
That's what Pulp Fiction
Yeah.
gave us. That's what even in a disappointing fashion, that's what the Blair Witch Project was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blair Witch was good, but it's a one-shot deal, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what
The
I
first
think.
viewing I enjoyed,
Yeah,
but I can never watch it again. Yeah, it's
yeah.
just boring.
Yeah,
And there was a lot of hype around it too. Because I saw it in the theater when it came
Yeah,
out,
me too.
and it
mhm.
was everybody was excited about it, right? And it was fun. It was enjoyable at that moment, just like this movie was. I enjoyed this too.
Well, yeah. As a movie, as a rewatch, Blair Witch is shit. There's no way you're
Yeah.
rewatching Blair Witch right now
No,
and you're
yeah,
impressed. The
yeah,
the whole originality of which I speak is the ad campaign and the buildup and the fact that they
yes,
convinced an
yeah,
audience of people prior to the internet that this was a real thing. This was found footage, and this was like a really dark, sinister look at something fucked up that happened to some kids in the woods.
yeah. It was almost like War of the World, right on the
Yeah, similar.
panic,
And also,
Oh, you're
but this
cutting
was
out.
on purpose.
just the buzz around it. The buzz was, you've got to see
Yeah.
this because this is new. Something new is happening here.
Hmm.
Yeah.
In the same way, like Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit, you know, the energy of that song, the buzz of that song was, this is not hair metal. This is not Poison. This is not Guns N' Roses. This is something else. Like this is new, and it's the newness that we crave, and it's hard to replicate, obviously, especially when like even if you're new, like if this guy's style is new, what's his next film going to be? New again, or is it going to be the same for him? Because we've seen this guy before.
Yeah. Do more of the same.
Pitfalls of the second album.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
sophomore, what they call it, the sophomore jinx or the
Yeah.
Yeah.
sophomore slump. Yeah, so How does one? First of
But
all,
this was his second one, right? So we have to. I haven't seen his
Yeah, I
first
don't know
one.
if you want to count his first one because that's really low budget underground film.
well,
This one at least is more, widespread.
Robert Rodriguez, I believe, the guy who did Desperado.
El
Yeah,
Right.
Mariachi.
and
So
mariachi. I remember
so
when I saw that.
yeah, El Mariachi was the low budget version. Then he got the funds, and then he does
Hmm.
Desperado, which a movie I love. But clearly, those two movies are very similar to each other.
Yeah,
Um, the question is, how much importance do you put on originality? Are you able to identify it, and then replicate it in a completely different context?
yeah,
Or is it just everyone's basically a one trick pony and just do your trick and hopefully that will be new to somebody? Because we see this with pop stars. Pop stars, they try to reinvent themselves. Madonna
yeah.
did it. You see even
Mm.
Boy George. Boy George is he's like a DJ now. He's in EDM and all sorts of shit. Copper Cap is reinventing himself.
Yeah. Now he's fighting people about it.
Fuck.
Copper Cap. Um, I'm just trying to like figure out if there's a lesson in there. How like who would you list as an artist, a content creator, not YouTube, but like film, TV, writing, who is constantly original? Like that is that trait that you see in
Yeah,
them
it's
and
hard.
admire in them, where they take risks. Like Radiohead did a bunch of like albums that were totally deviant
Different.
from their
Yeah.
previous albums.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Not all of them. Well,
And I like those ones.
you like them better?
Yeah, more mainstream stuff. Although I think OK Computer is still my favorite
Hmm.
album.
I heard.
And Kid A, but they've gone more
Oh yeah, they're
out
off
there
the
than
deep
that.
end.
Yeah,
I heard
yeah.
Kurt Cobain doing an interview in like '93 or something, and he was saying, we're basically sick of grunge, like three chord
Oh
grunge.
yeah.
They're like,
Oh
we're,
yeah.
we're done with
I
it.
remember him talking about electronic music back then, and
Hmm.
yeah,
What do you call it? He's like new wave.
clearly,
He said he wanted to
yeah,
be part of new wave.
yeah.
That's like an early '80s
He was
genre.
he was
Yeah,
gonna go all Joy Division.
Yeah.
right. Or I guess a resurgent new wave. I guess I don't know.
He
Pop.
did cover. He did cover a Devo song.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
gone in that direction. Yeah. Turn
So
around.
I guess inherent in what I'm describing is the risk, financial risk, um, reputational risk of trying
Hmm.
something that there's no guarantee that people are going to like what you're doing next. So
Yeah.
if you did something to bring you to the dance, why not stick with that thing? That's what your agent's going to tell you. To like
Yeah,
just
of
do it.
course. But if you're an artist,
You,
can
you
you imagine being
cut out.
someone like Kirk? Am I really?
But no,
Fuck.
you got it. If you're an artist,
Yeah,
you said,
you get sick of doing the same thing, right? Especially if you have fans coming up.
yeah.
Hey man, do that thing.
Well, it's interesting. Like
Imagine that happening to you, right?
you'll see people like artists like Britney Spears or Rihanna or somebody, and they'll be at a concert, Beyonce, and people do want to hear the hits. They want to hear the classics.
Yeah.
And but what they'll do oftentimes is they'll put a totally new spin on it. It'll be a remix. They'll have a totally different, costuming and dance routine, and so for them, at least, it's a new version of an old song. But for the audience, it's familiar enough. But then there is a twist. Like for me, when I used to, I love the see. This is why I loved mashups. The originality of mashups when they first came out,
Mm.
it had never been done before.
Hmm.
Take one song, the lyrics of one song, the vocals on one song, put to the music of another. That I had not experienced that in the '70s, '80s, '90s. It just didn't happen.
Mm.
And now that sort of has played out in the sense that it's not new anymore. And so for me, what has been interesting is, well, remixes are always different. They're by their nature, they're putting something new on it. But what I like to do now is mashups of mashups. So like I've done a few videos like that where like that to me is new. And maybe it's like this ravenous nature of human beings where we're kind of like the locust. We're constantly seeking. I think Sam Harris was talking about that with Stephen Fry, where he was saying we never achieve happiness. It's like this mirage, or it's this rainbow, chasing a rainbow. It's like you think you have achieved the thing you want, and then it's like, well, now I've done that, so I need something else to seek.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always how it is.
Hmm. Would you guys say that you have a tendency to be repetitive? I mean, we're all creatures of habit, but in
Yeah.
terms of your creative life, do you find it hard to be original?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hmm.
I would say
it's
so.
not easy because you're second guessing, right? If you're an artist, you're if you're doing something creative, you're always second guessing yourself.
Yeah, I mean,
And so you're wondering, is this good or is it? Do I like it? Will anyone else like it?
and also,
And then
yeah,
you say, "Ah, I don't care what anyone else thinks, but then you kind of do, and
you do, right? But you can't.
yeah,
You can't care what they think
no,
to try it.
no,
Maybe
it's a discipline.
maybe trying something in public is a different animal than trying something in private. So like as an artist, you don't even know if something's going to be gratifying or rewarding
Mhm.
until you do it. So
Yeah, I mean, what I do is completely private, right? I mean,
well,
I'll
that's
Hmm.
show some people what I do, but
yeah. I mean, you told me
it's
this.
like 100,000. Yeah.
You mentioned that
Sorry, go
in
on.
confidence to me. You said like you thought gay sex was going to be lame until you tried it, and then it was like,
Oh man.
And I'm like, wow, Devin, you should
yeah,
really try.
yeah. It's
I mean, you're in Toronto, it's cold.
we have Paul comes in with super chat. People like hated songs after 3 listenings. Weird, and that's true too. Familiarity. It's interesting if you took the life cycle of how you engage with a song. Oftentimes, upon a first hearing of a song, you're indifferent. Upon the second hearing, you're like, oh, yeah, I kind of remember that and like it, and it triggers some endorphins. And then the third time, you're like, I like the song. I'm favoriting it, and now I'm looping it. And then 20
Yeah.
plays in, you're like, I'm tired of this shit. This is like an ongoing nightmare where I got to stop. I got to get away from this song.
Mm. Oh, there's a thing of, you hear a new album and you hate it. And then
Mm.
a few listens later, it's like, this is the greatest.
Yeah, I do that a lot. Well, like one or
Yeah.
two songs on an album, so I'll just listen to those two. But every once in a while, it creeps over to the next song, and then I'll
Well,
start liking another one and another one.
Hmm.
it's to the point where if you're going to show someone a new song and have them listen to it and give you their judgment on it, they should really listen to it twice.
Yeah,
But
Oh, at
before they
least.
even open their mouth, like don't even say anything.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point.
But
That
maybe
should.
this leads to a larger point, which is when we're talking about taking risks and venturing into things that are unknown, we don't even know what we don't know. So how do I know? Like
No, there are known knowns and there
yeah. So maybe to
Who
become
said that?
aware,
Is it Rumsfeld said that?
is that right?
Yeah, wasn't it?
Yeah, I
Um,
think so.
to
Yeah.
be aware of your ignorance, like for example, I didn't do video forever. I stayed away
Mm.
from video and video editing, and I was like, that's a world that's not my thing. I'm more like animation and Flash web design and all that. And you know, I was missing out on a huge amount. Now, there's people out there right now. They've never edited videos. Like, there's a guy sitting there listening to this right now. He's never made a music video. Maybe he's awesome at it. Maybe he'd love doing it, but he hasn't tried. So
Yeah,
you have to try. Maybe you have a new spin.
I wouldn't mind trying that. I mean,
Hmm.
you and Alf can do it. I figure,
Yeah, great. No, but like,
give it a shot.
uh,
it was intimidating because I didn't know anything about any program for editing. I just they said I want to edit, I'm gonna do it,
yeah,
and I just did it.
half the
Took a
time
while to figure out how to even operate the programs.
when I'm streaming and I'm showing people my process and my workflow and how I create music videos and YouTube videos, like that is just a video tutorial on how to do what I do.
Hmm.
I'm showing people behind the scenes. That's it. That's everything.
Well, you're showing them the technical side of it, right? But
Well, sometimes I'm talking
that's
through
only.
the reasoning on how and why I'm choosing to do stuff.
Oh yeah, of course. But left to their own devices, people won't choose that. That's where the creativity comes into it.
Yeah, no, that's why
You
I'm
can't.
not
That's
worried
the
about
part you can't really teach. Yeah,
exactly.
it doesn't matter. I know people that are masters of Photoshop and Illustrator, but they couldn't design a logo to save their lives.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like Ricky Gervais saying, "Here's my secret to comedy. I use
Mm.
English words and I omit them from my mouth." It's like okay, but still, there's a secret sauce that makes Ricky Gervais that you're not going to have
Mm.
access to.
Mhm.
But like anybody can delve into these places and try stuff. It's just a matter of time and motivation, I suppose, and a willingness, a sort of, I guess that there's a certain courage to not only trying something, creating something, but then showing it to other people because now you're
Mhm.
open to their feedback and reaction, which is wild, like. But I got to give people credit, man. This is a hard left turn in a conversation, but I've I'm kind of amazed at this movie Bumblebee, this Transformers movie, because
Yeah.
everything about that movie, this is like essentially Transformers Part 7. And this movie got 96, 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. So
Wow.
logic dictates that I should see this movie. And I,
It's
and I, and I
So
crazy.
can't.
are they like the standard Rotten Tomatoes? Is that
Yeah, yeah. It's not just one. It's not Rotten Tomatoes saying it. It's hundreds of people. They've amassed
mm,
all the critics that count, and they're saying this is the score. So it's universally
mm,
everybody likes this film, and I'm almost like I feel obligated to watch it.
I
Yeah, I
have
haven't
no
watched it
interest.
either, and a lot of people have been telling me, "Oh, you got to see it. It's
I,
pretty good,
I
man."
have no
I'm
interest in
like,
it. I don't
Exactly.
know.
Well, but it's cars, Marina.
Yeah, but
It's not F1.
exactly.
If they did F1 Transformers, you'd be like, opening
No, I
day.
wouldn't. That's sacrilege,
You would
man.
you wouldn't
Yeah,
camp out.
it's
Do you remember the
horrible.
nerds
You
who?
can't you can't make racing bad. They never come out good. There's two good ones made ever in history, and that's it.
Mhm. Marino is a big fan of racing. It's very perplexing. Like I keep waiting for him to say, "I'm just kidding," but he never says it.
Well, the numbers are on my side.
Well, when I was in Toronto last week, a few days ago, I um, I was amazed at the fascination of you know hockey, curling, uh, just
You
winter
said you
winter
saw a guy with a
sports.
hockey
curling.
stick.
Yeah, right. And but I guess F1. So from that standpoint, a lot
Yeah,
of your interests up there are foreign to me.
yeah. Well, F1 isn't big here.
Well, let me ask you: we have a major sporting event coming up, the Super Bowl. Will you guys be watching?
Fuck no.
Neither of you are football fans.
Football? No. Never
Okay.
watched the game in my life.
Well, how about from a pop culture standpoint? Does it
No,
interest you that 100 million people will be watching this?
don't care.
Couldn't you're going to be
Don't care.
you're going to be
Yeah, I would
refreshing
would
the
fall
McLaren,
asleep.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
Well, there is drama, and
yeah.
it
Grant's
is.
gonna kill me. Grant's gonna be like,
Yeah, he's over
I'm
that.
not gonna watch it
"You're
either.
a jackass."
Oh my god, I said omitting from my face instead of emitting. Oh my
Mm.
god, got the fucking word police on me. Uh, yeah, I am intrigued by. Sometimes there can be some transfer of inspiration from seeing an artist, even in a field that is nothing to do with what you do. But passion is sort of contagious sometimes,
Yeah,
and also greatness. Just if you see something done in an excellent fashion. Not saying that this Mandy movie was that, but it took some risks and it was bold in what it was trying to do. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, it's almost like being a judge at a high diving event. You have to judge
I,
the difficulty of the dive and like
yeah,
what was the diver trying to do, and then did they do it well?
yeah.
Be,
If I let a lot slide with movies nowadays. I'm harsh a critic
mhm.
as I used to be. I mean, if a movie is good looking now, I'll probably watch it, and I will probably like it.
Because you are more lenient with your
Visuals for me are huge.
yeah.
I mean, that's the field I'm in, and it's the stuff I love that gets
Well,
me going. And this was a really good looking movie. Yeah,
for the longest time,
no,
uh, during the dawn of CGI, what we have is big budget movies that were spectacular to look at. Like the visual effects team did their best, but the movies were shit and
yeah,
Yeah,
contrived and formulaic. And so you'd leave it going, that was like a hot mess. It was like, emotionally, I'm left feeling empty, but it still looked rad, you know? And now what we're finding is we don't need to have either or. We're having a combination of both those things. Like, I love Avatar, for example. Avatar did really well. I can't wait for Avatar 2. And I think all the people that naysay on Avatar, which by the way should have won Best Picture, they're going to
no,
be nerding out over Avatar 2 and the advancements. That's a guy. James Cameron's a guy who pushes it. He's pushed
yeah, it's gonna
himself.
be
what won that year? Oh, that was the year's.
Uh,
No, not Zero Dark 30. Hurt Locker.
yeah, Hurt Locker. And you know what?
Hurt
I
Locker
hate
won.
Jeremy Renner like a fucking
I know you do.
yeah.
yeah.
So I felt like he snatched it away from my beautiful blue alien.
You really liked Avatar that much? Huh?
Yeah, I like Avatar's beautiful. It's a well done film.
Yeah, I liked it,
Look,
but I'm not a huge fan of it, but I
Hold
liked it a
on.
lot. I
Avatar,
haven't
It's
seen
telling
it
me
yet.
to control R. I gotta reset.
Oh,
Avatar,
the sequel might bring it all back and make me love it.
Avatar made like $1 billion. Okay,
Yeah, it was huge.
it is well acted. It's Sigourney Weaver, for God's sakes. It's alien. It's
my
fantasy.
my mom bought it on DVD,
Yeah,
like when it came out on DVD.
and people are like, "Oh, well, Avatar is not an original story." Based on what? There's tons of originality in Avatar, just because it has what, a beginning, middle, and end. There's a love interest. There's a yes. Is it dances with wolves, but with dudes painted blue on an alien planet? Yes,
Hmm.
but it's a million other things involved in it. It's like saying, "Oh, that new song is not original because it's got chorus and verses and lyrics." It's like, God, give me a fucking break.
Yeah, I don't really care that much. It's like
Yeah, it
it
didn't
was
do much for
original
me either.
enough.
Yeah.
Wasn't original
It was
enough.
original enough.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it was original enough. It looked nice, and it was. When it comes to movies, a lot of times I judge movies individually, where I'll be
Hmm.
like, this kind of movie, I can judge this just on how much fun I had. This movie I could judge by what it looks like and how it was filmed.
Well, here's the thing.
Stuff like that.
I mean, a movie like, see, Marina likes Blade Runner.
Yeah.
He liked the remake of Blade Runner, but if you look at the box office of the remake of Blade Runner,
Oh
compare that
yeah.
to Avatar,
No, failure.
it's going to be
Yeah.
smoked. But the reason is because Blade Runner is not trying to appeal to a wide family-friendly
No.
audience. Those are the big dollars. Bring the family.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
those are
because
the movies that are made for fun. That's why I say I can judge those movies and say this was a fun film, and I
Right,
enjoyed it. I
Blade
enjoyed
Runner
it.
was rated R too, so there's no way it was gonna make a lot of money.
like I would love to see the NC-17 version of Avatar. Like, I would just that'd be awesome. I remember the sex scene in Avatar. They cut it short. It was like a little bit of grinding, and then it's just, we're out. We're waking
Then you
up.
find out that the guy who did Mandy's doing Avatar 2.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Can you imagine?
Just you start
Nick
Starring
Cage
Nicolas
comes
Cage.
back.
you start.
Yeah.
It's Nicolas Cage all blue, and he's like wielding some new like bone crushing arrows, and he's just like,
Yeah, that would be amazing.
oh, he's riding one of those like pterodactyl things.
Yeah,
Oh,
but it's like blowing smoke out its mouth and shit.
that's so cool. But good for him. At least he got away from the Christian cinema. Actually, this movie did have Christian themes in it, but it definitely wasn't
The exact opposite themes
yeah,
that the other one had.
it wasn't pro Christianity. Yeah, and it'd be interesting to see how he could move on from this. Like, what's his agent offering him next?
I've been seeing on Twitter that he's getting another horror movie's coming out with him by the same producers
Oh
as
yeah,
Mandy, but not the same director.
he's not gonna go.
So it'll probably be in that.
He's not gonna do Dancing with the Stars.
No, it's actually an adaptation of a H.P. Lovecraft story from
Solid gold.
the 20s called The Color Out of Space.
Oh, cool. Well, I need to follow that Twitter account. I like to.
And Elijah, sorry, go
No,
ahead.
no, go ahead. Elijah Wood.
Uh, Elijah Wood was involved in this, right? He was
Yeah,
one
he
of
was
the
an
Yeah,
executive
producers.
produced it. Right.
producer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Huh.
guys, let us switch gears and watch a little Brown Fabio and Jesse Lee Peterson.
Yeah, let's do
Switch
it.
gears.
That was very fun, though. Thank you guys for chatting about
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
good
Thank you
shit.
for having us on.
Yeah, of
It's fun.
course. Now we're gonna do Rabbit, and I think I am in control.
Yeah,
This
you don't have it on the. Yeah,
should
yeah.
go
I
well.
guess it's delayed on the stream, so I
This-
can't tell if you did it yet.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. How do I do it? I'm freaking out.
And it's broken.
Open the tab for it.
Everyone has this inability to
Working?
recognize these realities, both at the social level and even
Hold
at
on. Timeout. Is it working for you?
I see it moving. Yeah,
Do you
I
hear
can
it?
hear
yeah.
it.
When you press play, yeah, I hear it too.
Okay. All right. So let's give a listen and just chime in when you want, because basically we're students and Hassan is teaching.
So I missed
Yeah.
the first half of this. I
Oh
only caught a bit of
no!
it.
You missed the
but-
first
So
half.
you go watch it back later.
Yeah,
Okay.
when you were streaming yesterday. But yeah, it's fine.
Well,
I'm sure I get the gist of it.
I'll give you the highlights. Basically,
Right.
Jesse Lee Peterson thinks Hassan Piker is Hassan Packer, and he thinks
Right.
Cenk Uygur is Keek Uygur or Chink Uygur.
Yeah, I heard that part.
And we should reject capitalism and embrace communism because of bread. That's basically
Yeah.
what you've missed.
Oh yeah. I was there for the bread thing.
Okay.
That's
Then
one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
you got the heart and soul of it then. All right, let's hear
Got
what
it,
he's talking
yeah.
about.
biological level.
Is it normal for a man to be angry?
It's normal for everyone to be angry.
How about for a man?
Sure.
It's normal.
Like it is for
How
everyone.
did you become angry?
How do I become angry?
How did you become angry?
Anger is not my current state. I'm not angry all the
Hold on.
Oh my
I
god.
love these probing questions from Jesse. How did you become angry? It just assumes he is angry. And so he's like, I reject the premise. Every question Jesse gives, the premise gets rejected.
Nice bracelets, Hassan.
I know. I'm angry. I'm angry at his bracelets.
Fucking hell.
My girlfriend couldn't believe it. All the rings. He's almost halfway to being a cult member. Like he's decorating himself in a really culty, weird, freaky way. And I like how he's wearing a brown shirt. It's so apropos.
You need Nick Cage to come up behind him.
Yeah, I'm feeling that. But he is angry. I mean, if you see him in his Twitch streams, he's pissed all the time because his own audience hates him. And he's got that rage. Like, look, if you're a communist living in a capitalist world, you're mad. It's not going well for you. You're not winning.
But does his audience hate him? Really?
Oh, a huge percentage of them. Yeah. Look,
hate watching it.
His niche, like his cream of the crop fan is a cat girl, like a 28 to 34-year-old woman who's just fantasizing about oh, this is some stud who's gonna come and ravage me, and he's a bad boy. He's sort of naughty. He dresses counterculture.
God, he looks like every other.
He's a fucking
millennial out there.
supreme douchebag. But okay, let's see what he's got.
The time, I'm saying that I can have angry moments.
How did you become
As a reaction,
angry?
I can become angry.
How did you become angry? Whereas you may have angry.
Jesse Lee's just like, yeah, shut the fuck up. How did you?
I know. He just steamrolled over that entire answer.
Yeah.
So
That's what
anyway,
he does. If you don't answer him directly, he'll just keep asking the question over.
I don't care, punk. How did you become angry?
are you angry that I'm aware that you're angry?
Moments.
Do you think that having angry moments means that you're an angry person?
You didn't answer the question.
No,
Wait,
he's doing what other people do, which is to answer Jesse's questions with questions. Jesse
Yeah.
never answers those questions. I mean, it's really funny, the formula, the skeleton of how these conversations go, because it's always the same with Jesse. And there's only so many. He did this with me. I don't think I asked him any questions because I knew that was a dead end. But it's almost like an interrogation. Jesse needs to have a fire hose and electrical shock devices.
Yeah. It's super simple. You answer your questions and you answer. That's it. If you don't answer, he just keeps asking you the questions till he gets that answer.
Oh, by the way, look at Hassan's shirt. Is that ripped intentionally?
Yeah.
He just doesn't care.
Extra.
He doesn't care to that degree where he wears.
It's badassery, man.
Yeah, shredded gear.
Yeah.
Hot.
I just want to
How
understand.
did you become angry?
You get that I need.
Whereas you may have angry moments.
You realize that I have to. You like to ask yes or no questions, but in order for me to give you a perfect answer, or in order for me to give you an answer
Yes
at all,
or no?
Has Hassan ever given a perfect answer to any question ever?
No.
You could see that in his mind, he tries to come up with buzzwords and catchphrases and big sounding words. Earlier in this stream, he talked about historical materialism. And I played
when he learned the word proletariat.
Yeah, proletariat. My girlfriend heard him say historical materialism, and she was like, English isn't even her first language, and she was like, that doesn't sound right. What the fuck is he talking about? That doesn't mean anything. And, the same thing every time. It's systemic, systems, and structural, all that.
Yeah.
It's just noises. The guy likes the noises he makes.
Is
You
a
need
perfect
to-
answer.
No, because then we're not having. You can't learn anything from a yes or no
I
conversation.
can't. I learned a whole lot.
Okay,
from
when did
yes
you
or no.
stop beating your wife?
How did you become?
When did you stop beating your wife?
Jesse, I think, did I ask him that? Somebody else asked him that. When did you stop beating your wife? Yeah,
right?
and he said,
Yeah.
he said something, but it was a weird answer. It was like, I'm not married. That's what he said.
Yeah. Oh no, it was David Pacman. He asked David Pacman that, and David Pacman said, "I'm not married."
Oh, right. It was Pac-Man. Okay. And I was like, so it wasn't that you against beating. It was funny. Here we go.
You have anger.
But
moments.
do you see the kind
How
of
did
question
you
that is? Where
how
that
did
would
you become angry?
That's not a. That doesn't foster
You
a
don't
productive
know how you
conversation.
became angry.
But,
Oh, God. Hassan is worried about fostering a productive conversation. You don't invite on Hassan Piker to have a productive conversation. What are you going to produce from that conversation? That's assuming that the guy conversing has something of value to give you.
Yeah.
That's his assumption. He thinks he's supposed to teach us. That's the fucking how cock drunk this man is.
Yeah.
He talks about, man, I'm trying to educate the masses, man. I'm trying to get them to my level.
He's a boy.
A man boy?
Yeah, it's exactly what he is.
Yeah. No, he's just a boy. Son.
Yeah, I mean, are you not impressed by him, Marina?
No. Are you?
You don't think this is a teaching moment that we're
No.
okay,
What if?
from here until the end of this video, do you think we're gonna be improved? Will Hassan have imparted
No.
something upon us?
No.
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 You think we'll be diminished?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
No,
gonna
but
We'll
go
be worse off.
with bold prediction.
yeah. No, but what's great is we will be improved based on the fact that it's fun to watch this guy think he's superior to everyone, and yet he's
Oh yeah, we'll get a
such.
chuckle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious.
Shit.
Wait till they start talking about F1. You're gonna love that.
Oh fuck.
Look at his fingernail right here. Is that blood or is that a shadow?
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I think it might be a shadow though.
Okay.
Why?
What?
Man, you are a steamroller, aren't you? Okay. Do you hear what I
I
just
love how
said?
Jesse always glances over to his producers when he's looking to like just twist the knife in his guest. He like breaks eye contact with them and he's just like, "Can you believe this motherfucker over here?" It's wonderful.
You
you hear
didn't
my
answer my
question?
question. How did you become, whereas you have angry moments?
Um,
How did you get that way?
I don't know. I think I became increasingly upset with
Okay,
how
hold on, time out. Play a game.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think he's gonna say? He's gonna.
Something about inequality.
Okay, Alf.
Something about the rich.
I already watched this, so I don't want to
Oh,
say.
okay. I think he's gonna say, "I'm becoming increasingly frustrated or upset about how stupid people are. Like how people are not understanding what I know about the world." Something like that. He's running into people that are not him, or he's running into people that disagree with him. Essentially,
Yeah.
yeah, that's his frustration.
stupid people can
Oh
be.
my god!
Yeah,
Okay,
you
wait, no,
No, bullshit.
no.
You
Wait,
cheated.
I talk about this every. You guys, I do this in real time. You guys know it. Is it not crazy? It's a crazy thing. Like I'm almost gonna go on the road and just be like a touring magician and be like, I can guess what morons are gonna say. It's like,
So cheating, man.
Yeah,
no, I haven't
he
cheated.
elaborates on that more too.
Oh, that's so great. Here we go.
What age did you become angry?
What age did I become angry? I don't know. I can't pinpoint an exact
Have
age.
you had it all your life?
No, but it's not even. Like I said, I don't think it's a state of mind. I think it's more so just specific instances where I have angry moments.
So, are you married?
I am not married.
Are
No,
you
I'm 20.
dating?
I'm 27. Well,
Yeah.
that's probably the most sane thing he's ever said, where he furrows his
Yeah.
brow and he goes, "I'm 27. Why would I be married?" Meanwhile, The Bachelor right now, the guy's 26 and he's a virgin, which is insane. And he's dating 23-year-olds on the show, and they're all just pretending like they're going to get married and live happily ever after. Meanwhile, the odds of that happening is like slim to none. But
Mm-hmm.
I love how Jesse Lee just hammered that narrative that you're an angry man, just until like all Hassan like said is, "Oh, every once in a while I get mad, just like everyone else." But he's like, "Okay, so as an angry man,
Yeah. But what makes it such an angry man?
yeah, it's insane." I was like, he was ripping on me. He's like, "So you don't get along with your stepmother?" I'm like, "Yeah, we don't have the best thing. Like, we've actually repaired that in recent months, but
Yeah.
it was like it wasn't some abnormal like go ask anybody if they're in perfect relations with every member of their family. It's obviously not the
Yeah.
case." But Jesse, he gets onto a narrative and he's like a dog with a bone.
Seven.
Are you dating?
Sometimes.
And you date women, right?
That's very progressive of you to ask me.
Oh God, he's gonna be all woke
Very
about gay shit, dude. He goes on dates with Destiny all the time.
Oh God.
Ugh.
Yeah,
Master Blaster.
yeah, Quado.
Yes, I date women.
And so when
Look
you're
at you're
dating,
woke as hell, dude. You're
Dude.
Jesse
Healthy.
woke ass.
Okay, so
Jesse.
here's what's great. In this scenario, Jesse Lee is being Jesse Lee, just quintessential Jesse
Yeah.
Lee, and Brown Fabio cannot be anything other than Brown Fabio. So he cannot change. Like he's just called Jesse Lee, dude. He's like, "Hey, bro, you're woke as shit, dude." Like
Yeah.
he doesn't realize that's inappropriate to say to a 70-year-old black man. Like you're not. He can't be a different version of himself, more respectful, use a different set of words. Like it's just so weird. It's so tone deaf to me.
Yeah, it is weird.
Fuck.
Fuck. Marines, fuck him.
Fucking people.
I know.
Lee Peterson.
When you're dating a woman and she's get angry at you, and you
Oh God.
become angry.
Oh God. Please tell me he goes into the fetal position story.
No.
Yeah, because he's on record. He was
It'd be so
domestically abused by a woman, and he curled up like a bitch. And you know, right now he's panicked. He's like, "Oh, please tell me his producers didn't tell him about my fetal story."
No.
At her, or she get angry about anything, and you become angry in that moment, how are you able to help her overcome her anger if you are angry?
It's such a random topic.
By pulling yourself out of the situation, but I don't know what this has to do with anything.
So, have you ever become angry at one of the ladies that you were dating at any point?
No. I mean,
Bullshit.
I have. I've been in.
Well, why would he say no to that? Why would you
Because,
lie?
Yeah, you've never had a disagreement. You've never had a
Yeah.
fight.
You know what it was? It was he heard how that was going to sound. So, have you ever been angry at a woman? For him to say yes, that's not going to be like he's a male feminist. Like the women
Yeah.
in his audience are not, like his demographic, the cat ladies, the 35-year-old cat ladies. They're not going to be down with that. They're like, oh, that's a bit toxic. That's not the best a man can get. So he says,
Gillette.
right. So he says no. He goes, have you been mad at a woman? No. And then instantly he realizes that's bullshit. Who's going to believe that?
Yeah, a month ago he was
Yeah.
talking about how he was getting the shit kicked out of him
Yeah, exactly.
by a woman. Was he not upset about that? Was he just like, this is fine. It's good.
Right. It's so
I'm
weird.
progressive.
So
I can take this.
that's why this whole thing is a show. He's not being honest. He's performing a character. Like, this is what I think people want a progressive guy to be like.
You don't think he's being real with those rings and that bracelet? Those fucking shoes? No?
It's real something. I don't know. It's not real though.
I've been in a toxic relationship in the past, but like I don't know. I just dealt with it by.
Bye. Oh, he was about to say it, Jesse. You cut him off.
I cut him off.
He was about to go fetal.
When you were
by
angry at
keeping
them, and they
an
were
even temper. I get angrier at other things, like
White supremacy.
when I'm debating people or whatever, more so than I get angry at someone who I love or live with.
So when you get angry at her because she's angry, is that like a lesbian relationship? Because you're not able to help her. Both only women get angry. Real men don't get.
Lesbian.
It's not like a lesbian relationship. It's so funny.
You're so beta. You're a lesbian. Oh man, do you see Hassan's face? Kind of. He's like, what? What was that? Lesbian? What?
Yeah.
Jesse, man. Jesse's really.
Yeah.
He's
I told you this keeps getting better and
he's
better.
throwing the kitchen sink at him here. How did the
Yeah.
word lesbian not make the title of this video? Wow.
Angry. Is it like a lesbian?
Lesbian.
Are you saying that I become a woman
When you're angry, you have,
when
yes.
when I'm angry?
Yes,
Would you not say so? You're saying that men don't get angry at all?
not real men. Beta males. Are you a beta male?
I don't know. What is a beta male?
An
You'd have
angry
to define
person.
it for me.
A male with anger.
Oh, okay. That's a beta male.
Beta. He's yelling. Hold on. Here. Let's say it.
Beta.
Do you think?
just yelling beta at the man.
Yeah.
Slugs.
Sluts.
Slats.
So, a beta man is a man with anger? No.
Yeah.
First of all, alpha dudes are angry as fuck. They're like the most, just over the top, sort of violent guys around. Beta guys are the dudes that slink up and are, exhibit weakness. I mean, they're angry. Don't get me wrong. A lot of those beta dudes are angry because they're not winning. But Hassan's not going to claim anything. What is the right answer if someone says, are you beta or alpha?
Yeah.
In Hassan's mind, there is no answer to that. He say, I disagree with the whole premise. I don't think there's. It's what a cunt.
Trump is a beta male then? Because
I'm
he
about
gets
to
angry
ask
a
you
lot.
about the great white hope.
Wait. So do you think Trump is a beta male then? Because he gets angry
No,
a lot.
he's 100% alpha. He never
Well,
gets
he gets angry all
No,
the
he
time.
doesn't.
How could you
He
say
does
that?
not. You've never seen the president
Oh
angry.
my God, I've seen him angry so
No,
many
you
times.
haven't.
He's angry like half the time when he's
No.
tweeting out crazy stuff. What do you
No.
think that is? You think that's out of even temper?
He's dealing with evil.
Oh, so you can be angry when you're dealing with evil.
You could be non-angry and
seems
deal
like
with
you're
evil.
breaking your own rules
no,
there.
No, the best way to deal with evil people by not being angry, because you become like whomever you become angry at, right? You know how you
Like
notice
Mandy.
you became like your mother?
Yeah.
What do you say?
I said like Mandy, but he just said you
Oh.
became like your mother.
Oh God.
He said to him.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse is now delving down this whole evil versus good,
yeah.
religious sort of framing of
Oh
it,
yeah, this gets crazy.
and yeah, it doesn't make much sense.
I don't think I became like my mother.
Yeah, you are. Your mother had anger. Now
But
you
you don't
have
know,
it.
do you know my mother?
I know that's where you got the anger from.
I mean, I don't think you know that at all.
Yes, I do.
think you have a very
100%.
narrow framework for all of these
100%.
things.
100%. You
You're
got it.
constant-
He's aggressively psychoanalyzing the man. It's like
This is crazy.
he's the worst family counselor ever. Yep,
Imagine being psychoanalyzed by Jesse Lee Peterson.
I know. It's great.
Trying to
But then
fit
how
a
did you
square peg in a circle.
So
every
how did
time
you
see
become?
anything.
How did you become like a woman? It had to come from your mother.
Do I
Because
become like a woman?
when you have anger, your mother. Your,
Would you think
your
that?
anger
Would you think
come
that
from-
people?
Let me just finish this.
Would you think that when people look at us, do you think they're like, oh, that guy that Jesse's talking to, that guy is like a woman?
Yes.
If I was a woman,
Dude, you wear necklaces and
He's
rings
gonna
and
call
jewelry.
him. He's gonna call him a slut soon.
Yeah. All the keywords are coming out.
When did you become a slut?
He's like, do you think I'm a woman? Look at the hair I have, man. I mean, it's funny that Hassan feels the need to defend his manhood. This is great.
Yeah.
He's buying into the bait. It's great.
thought that I was a woman, then you're very progressive. I think you're right. But I already gave you my
I guarantee you, the women
my
that you've
gender
dated,
pronouns.
the women that you've dated, when you became angry at them, they thought of you as a woman.
Okay. I would just like to say that I find it amusing that progressives talk about being progressive as if it's like the state of nirvana, like it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Like it's like, hey, that's not progressive. Oh, this candidate, he's super progressive. They talk about it and they don't realize they run into people who are like, it's not good to be progressive. I have a fundamental disagreement with you. I find it weird. Like for them, they use that word in a complimentary way all the time.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't say, "Oh, this guy, a fan of mine. I met him. Cool guy. In fact, he's a Democrat. He was acting really democratically. He was, just because I'm a Democrat, I wouldn't use that as a complimentary term,
Yeah, that's weird.
as if it's the goal of all. It's just weird. Hassan's
I
falling apart.
promise you that.
Okay.
Yeah. So did you
Can I
vote
ask
for?
you something?
Yeah.
You're not married, are you?
No,
Why aren't you married?
Beta.
it just didn't happen. One time I thought I would, but now it's boring.
Okay. You were too bored to get married.
No,
Don't you
now
think
it's
that
boring.
Oh, now it's boring.
Yeah.
What do you have lady friends? Do you?
No, I just work all the time now.
You just don't have any lady friends whatsoever. You
I have
don't wanna-
lady
do you not wanna
friends.
Have,
Oh God, this is getting in depth and very personal. Jesse does though. He dresses pretty sharp. Like
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's dating on the side.
Oh, I'm sure he is.
Yeah.
Gotta have something.
Like there's a market for it. Like some widower, divorcee, who knows? Some girl at the church. He's probably hitting up the church for that action. But
Church action.
he doesn't strike me as a gay guy, does he?
No.
Okay.
do you
I
not
have
wanna
lady friends, but I'm not dating.
Do you
them.
not want to have children?
I have kids.
Oh, you have kids.
Yeah,
Out of
unfortunately,
wedlock?
unfortunately, I had one son out of wedlock.
Uh huh.
It was devastating.
Did
I
you-
was a young man? Let me
do you
finish.
provide for
Let
him?
me finish. When I was a young man, and
Did you just say, do you provide for him? He's like accusing him
Yeah.
of being a deadbeat dad, like to his
Yeah,
face.
yeah, he's trying everything.
It's not very woke, Hassan.
No.
What a cunt.
realized that was wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and I just realized I would never do that again. And that was when I was about 18 or 19.
Damn.
He's now adult. He got married because I told him never do that. He got married, has 2 kids, and
So
his daughter is
you
now
were capable
married.
of-
She has a grandson.
And
I
but
mean,
you
a
were
son.
capable of providing for him, and that he had a better future because of it. So you are essentially discrediting your ultimate theory that having a child out of wedlock is
What? No, Hassan, his theory was that you have to be a father to your child and that marriage is good for the community. That's his point. And his son's life is improved because he taught him how to be a responsible adult and how to get married and have children and raise his kids.
If anything, it proves this point.
Yeah, but Hassan's trying to latch onto the fact
Yeah.
that you weren't married when you had your kid. And he's like, yeah, that was a mistake, and I learned from it. I taught my son better. But he's still going to
Yeah,
try
I
to
think-
shame him for
I
it.
think Hassan just needs a win in this because he hasn't had one win in this whole conversation.
No.
He's looking for it.
Exactly.
what's causing black people to at every single level
How am I
causing black people to be
How am I
held back.
discrediting that?
Because you yourself had a child out of wedlock,
Right.
and yet you were able to take great care of him, showing
What?
that it's not necessarily just about children being born out of wedlock.
Where did you get that from? Information you just put out.
Your own words.
I told you I was able to take care of him,
Yeah.
making sure he have a good life.
Yeah.
I didn't tell you that.
Oh, so you didn't take good care of
I
him.
didn't tell you that.
Yeah.
But did you,
You
not take
just
good care
put
of him?
out information that's not true.
Okay, did you not take good
I
care
did
of
not tell you that. Let's get
Did
that
you?
clear.
Yes
You
or
made
no?
a statement that's
Wait,
not true.
did you not take good care of him
I
then?
didn't take care of him at all.
Okay. Well, how
So this is great. So Hassan's point just blew up in his face, and
Yeah.
Jesse
Care him at
did
all.
call him out, especially because Hassan's being a cunty little like detail-oriented guy. He's like,
Yeah.
where are your citations of this and that? So he's like,
a little shit.
yeah. And so Jesse's like, you just made an assumption. I didn't tell you that. I was a shit father. I'm not saying what I did was the right way. In fact, Jesse would say, I'd be the first to tell black people today, don't have kids out of wedlock when you're 18. I'd be the first ones to
Yeah.
say it. So Hassan's basically saying, oh, are you saying do as you say, not as you do? He's like, yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm older now. I'm wiser. When I was 18, I was a fucking schmuck.
Yeah.
And that's why Hassan is 27 and he's a schmuck. He doesn't even realize he's a schmuck. When he
Yeah.
is Jesse Lee's age, he's going to be like, oh yeah, I was a dipshit. Don't do what
So
I said.
Jesse Lee's a great grandfather now.
Yeah, he is.
'Cause he said his son's daughter has a kid too.
Right. But he's
Yeah.
trying to like morally shame Jesse Lee as if
Yeah. No, I know what he's doing.
there's some hypocrisy that Jesse Lee is a Christian and is in favor of marriage, and yet he didn't have a perfect marriage, so therefore
I mean, he just said it was a huge mistake that he did that.
Yeah.
So
he's admitted to that. But he's trying to find a win in this little rabbit hole that he's going down, and there's nothing. There's nothing there. Even
No.
Jesse Lee is beating him over this point.
Yeah.
It's fun.
how did he become a fine gentleman who is married in your own words then?
He lived with his mother and stepfather in New York
Okay.
until he
I like it. Hassan's like, how can I spin that? So if he had just said he lived with his mother, he would have said, well, see, single moms aren't a problem, which is also
had his
bullshit.
father.
Just because one single mom raises a kid successfully doesn't mean that the numbers aren't the numbers and we don't know the trends. But he'd had a stepfather, just like Shaquille O'Neal had a stepfather. So fathers are important is where Hassan is left with, and he's like, shit, what is my point? Like, it's so weird. Hassan just wants to win at anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an overriding theme here. He doesn't have some in-depth analysis of the black community. He's just like, in his words, he'd say, I want to dunk on Jesse Lee because he's a conservative. Like, that's it. But he's
came to the
failing.
dog.
Okay.
So you just put out. The
So
reason
wait,
I'm
hold on,
pointing
hold
it
on.
out because you're putting out other
I just
information.
assumed, and I apologize for assuming.
ASS, you and what?
Okay, you make an ass out of you and me, right? Is that what you're gonna say?
ASS, you and.
Okay, hold on.
I gotta finish up. Let me
So
ask
wait, you
this.
didn't take good care of your child?
Right.
You didn't at all.
No.
my
Oh,
God.
but you said that
I
you
did
gave
for a
him
little while
advice.
until I sent him back, made the mistake of sending him back to New York.
Okay, that's interesting. But he was still able.
Watch some of my old
despite the
film.
fact that he was born out of wedlock, your own.
What a moron.
He's
This-
still trying to
Yeah,
get this.
right. So he's trying to make the point based on this one story. Wasn't he the one criticizing anecdotal evidence earlier?
Yeah.
Right. So now, because one guy, and his point is, it was out of wedlock, and yet the kid came out okay. Well, she remarried, so
Yeah,
it wasn't
that's
out
fine.
of wedlock. He was raised in wedlock.
Yeah.
So stupid.
child, your own kin, that you refuse to take care of at some point.
I didn't refuse. Where you get that information from?
You
Here
just
we go
said
again.
I didn't
yourself.
say I refused to take care of him.
I mean, but you
You just put out some more
did you not deny?
non-true
Did you not
information.
deny care?
I love it. I love that. Yeah, the word refused. Right. Hassan's trying to spin, and Jesse Lee is being as petty and sort of, he's making the guy accountable for everything he says, and he's throwing up resistance. But this conversation is, there's no good faith here. Neither guy has anything really to say on this topic, and they're just trying to pwn the other guy. I love the backdrop. I love how it feels like, you remember in The Matrix where Neo goes in to get
Yeah,
guns? It feels like
Yeah.
that place, only black. It's
Yeah,
just
reverse matrix.
yeah.
To your
You
child?
just said I refuse to take care
Yeah,
of him.
the refusal
Why do
in
you
that
say I
instance,
refuse to take care of him?
because it's denial. I assume that you
ASS,
believe a
you
good
and
me
man.
again.
Okay, well, hold on.
ASS.
Okay, let me ask you. A good man. Does a
Okay,
good man
okay, so hold on. He just berated him for assuming. It's like, if you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. And what does Hassan do? He assumes again.
Again, right
Instantly
after.
does the same thing. And it's so stupid that he even said it himself. He goes, I assume that,
Yeah.
oh, fuck, I did it. I walked into it.
man provide for his kin, for his children?
His kin.
No.
Why is he saying the word kin?
A good man does not provide for his
And
children.
you know why?
Wait, what?
May I tell you why not?
Wait, why not?
There's no such thing as a good man.
Wait, are all men trash, Jesse Lee Peterson?
All human beings who have anger are trash.
Damn, you are like the most progressive conservative I've ever talked to.
It's so stupid. I mean, Jesse starts speaking in these just
Yeah.
riddles, these fortune cookie statements. There is no
Yeah.
such thing as racism. All men are trash. Like what? What are we talking? Evil is the main problem.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, you think you're canceling all men? You're talking about
I
having
said all
children out of
those who
wedlock?
have anger
Uh-huh.
are wicked.
Huh, interesting.
Wicked.
Wicked.
But everyone has the capacity to be angry, right? And have anger, right?
Everyone has the capacity to overcome anger.
Oh, okay. Well, that's true. I agree with that. We can overcome our material conditions, especially if we get together.
Did you just hear him throw in our material conditions? What does that mean?
Yep.
Pause.
He wants to lean. He wants to go towards the whole communism.
Yeah,
thing.
communism. So wait, material conditions. That doesn't even mean anything. It's like I feel like I'm eating a bowl of what's that soup with the letters in it? The SpaghettiOs or no?
Alphabet.
Alphabet.
soup.
Yeah, and it's just he's coming up with these phrases. Material conditions. Is he talking about the means of production again? The factory, the communism? Unbelievable.
And fight back against the system.
And
now-
see that?
Yeah.
He's like,
Jesus.
everyone can overcome our material conditions and fight back against the system. That's a phrase that sits in his brain, and it's
Yeah.
locked and loaded. He's ready to uncork it. That had nothing to do with Jesse Lee talking about people overcoming their anger. What? And he just brought it to topple capitalism. What a fucking moron! What's up with this commercial break here?
Yeah.
Word from our sponsor.
What is happening?
I have no idea.
It's a commercial for himself.
Dude, LA is a mistake.
Give me the shirt. Come on. I ain't the children of the lie. Let's go. Come on, one shirt. Jesse! Jesse!
What in the world going on out here?
All these people are here for the merch, but we're sold out.
They're here for the merch?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh my gosh. What is going on?
It's crazy. Like, I get that they are in on their own joke. Like, they have Jesse Lee works with young people who
Yeah.
they like to fancy themselves that they keep abreast of, the memes and the jokes and the general
Yeah.
consensus about Jesse Lee. So Jesse Lee says these things over and over again, like amazing beta,
Yeah.
and so they've turned that into merchandise, and they've tried to be in on the joke, but this feels like just sellout. It feels like it's cheapening it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
the guy's doing his own catchphrase. It's like when you see a quasi celebrity, some guy on a reality show, and then next thing you know, he's selling used cars, and he's like doing the one cliche joke that he was known for on the reality
Yeah.
show. It's just, I think he's better than that, but apparently not.
It's amazing. The merch is amazing.
It's amazing. It's
Oh god,
amazing.
that's terrible.
Slut.
I got to ask you about the
Wow, that
Great
was
White
bad.
Hope.
Go ahead.
Did you vote for him?
Of course not.
Why not?
Guys, he's terrible.
Did you vote for Hillary?
Unfortunately.
Beta.
Yeah, she's terrible too.
That's funny. What a cunt. Now, it's so great that he's in this conversation. This is the horseshoe conversation where he's about to throw Hillary under the bus. Like, oh, I hated voting for Hillary,
Yeah.
which is already a fucking cunty
Look at his
move.
face right there.
And so
Way
Jesse,
more alpha than Trump.
right? So Jesse Lee and Hassan are gonna meet out at the tail end of the horseshoe and be like, yeah, we're both against the left. Cool. I'm on the right. You're on the far left. We have so much in common, don't we?
Why would you vote for her?
I vote out of spite and also because I want to reduce harm.
Spite.
So
I
it's
vote
voting for
out of
harm reduction. I know
spite.
that certain groups, certain American citizens and even undocumented citizens that live here would be better off under Democratic leadership, even if it was marginally better off, which is why I made that choice.
So
I thought
you
it was
don't.
You think it's marginally? There's a marginal difference between Hillary and Trump. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Any political-minded person would agree that that is insane. But this is how far left these guys are. This guy's farther left than everybody on TYT. Like he could say the same criticism about Cenk. He'd be like, "Oh, Cenk, yeah, he's all right for a boomer, but he believes in incrementalism, and he's sort of like he claims to be a radical, but he's kind of moderate, to be honest. Like he doesn't even want communism or revolution when he's not even pro Antifa. I mean, that's who we're dealing with. This guy shouldn't be talking. He should have a muzzle on his face."
Best possible choice in comparison.
What has the president said or done that you disagree with?
Virtually everything, with the exception of some foreign policy issues.
Getting out of Syria was good because I'm culturally Muslim, and I thought that was tight.
He accidentally stumbles into.
Give me an example of something that he's done or said that you disagree with.
Gigantic tax cuts. Actively
like
trying
that?
to. No, it's terrible.
Amazing.
They contribute to income inequality. You, Jesse,
Why
you
don't
make
you
a lot
give
of
all
money,
your-
so you
why
like the
don't
tax
you
cuts.
give-
It's going to hurt them
No,
and their children.
They got
the people
tax
that
cuts
work
in their
How much money do you think Jesse Lee is making?
Yeah,
I saw his patrons. He has 69 patrons. Obviously, he makes money off merch. He makes money off. I think he's got a radio show, but I don't think
I
that
have
he's.
no idea.
I don't think he's rolling in cash.
No, I don't think so.
Who knows, though? He might have investment.
Yeah,
Who knows?
That is his age.
Yeah.
No,
Paycheck.
of course, but they get a $5 tax cut when you get
Why did
$100,000.
you gave all your tax cuts back to the president or to the?
What?
Did you receive accept your? You have a job, right?
Yeah, I do.
And when you received tax cuts, did you give back the money?
I'm confused with that. Is that
Did you give
what do
back the extra money that you made as a result of tax cuts? Did you just say, no, this is not fair, I'm giving it back? Did you give it back?
Do you think that's how it works?
Did you give it back?
Do you think that's how it works?
Did you give
no,
it back?
of course I didn't give it back.
I
Do you
didn't
think that's how
so.
it
You're a
works?
hypocrite.
That's how hypocrisy works?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I don't see you giving it back if you think it's so bad.
I'm talking about handling systemic problems when you're like, why don't you give back the $5 additional that you got back?
You could have given that to
The problem is
why
we all
you did
give
not
it back.
give that to the
The
poor?
problem is we all give those tax
Why
cuts
do you
back.
give
You
that
know how
back
we
to
give
the
those
poor?
tax cuts back, Jesse? When the average American citizen can no longer send their child to public school, or when health care becomes even less affordable, the average American citizen is paying back in dividends. When they're paying back so much more than the $5 that they originally got.
Why did you give yours back to the poor then?
I do. I give back to the poor
So
all
you
the
say
time.
no,
but that
I'm talking about
solve
your
anything.
tax cut money.
Okay, more
that
than
you
that.
Received.
But even more than that. But that
why
doesn't solve
did
anything.
you not give it to the poor?
But I do. But that doesn't
No,
solve
you
anything,
didn't.
Jesse.
You're not being honest again.
Yes, I am.
You gave your money back. Say, hey, I don't want to give it to
Not
the
the
poor.
tax cuts,
I
but
didn't
even
think
more
so.
than that.
I got to ask you this.
Okay.
So you're okay with illegal aliens coming into the border, right?
Yeah, I don't.
Illegally
Yeah,
crossing the border.
I think borders are.
Wait a minute. Oh God.
Borders or what?
Are a thing of the past. Are not necessary. Are not needed. How could you say that? Are you in favor of illegal immigrants coming into your country? Yeah. How could he possibly defend that position?
It's nuts.
I mean, this is going to be great. He's really dug himself a hole here.
They're ridiculous.
Okay.
Borders are ridiculous.
You love white
Why
people?
don't you?
You love white people?
Yeah, sure.
You love all white people?
I love all people. I have no hate in my heart for anyone.
You don't? And so you
And I
love...
don't think
Why is every video you do anti-white if you love white people?
you do either, but yet you keep calling people children of the lie and Satan.
Do you
It
love
doesn't
them?
seem like you love all people if you keep calling them Satan, right? Do you love Satan?
They're children of Satan.
Oh, okay. Do you love children of Satan?
I love them, yeah.
I love it. He's like, don't be ridiculous. Do I love Satan? What a ridiculous question. They're children of Satan. Like,
Children of Satan.
hell
And then he said he loves them. He's like, yeah, I love them. It's like, there's nothing you can say.
man, Jesse has that. He's got that old world crazy in him. You know.
Yeah, he does.
It's like it's almost straight out of Mandy. Like Jesse Lee would watch Mandy and like be vibing with what that cult leader was talking
Yeah.
about.
I didn't see nothing wrong with this picture.
Yeah, exactly.
You do?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's
So let me
interesting.
ask,
Why do you keep
do
calling them
you-
children of Satan without knowing if they're actually children of Satan or not, though? Because you're
Everyone-
vilifying them.
Yeah,
Everyone-
exactly, Jesse. Do you have a citation that they're actually the children of Satan? I don't think so. Another point for Hassan.
You're vilifying them, and other people who listen to you, who you have a responsibility to educate, also probably now agree with you and think that these random people that you've never met and don't know if they're evil or not are children of Satan.
No, they are. You can tell.
But you can't.
I got to ask you this.
What if I think you're a child of Satan?
That'll be fine.
Yeah, but what
I
you
don't
don't
care what you
understand is I know, but if you're throwing around these words carelessly and then people that listen to you end up doing something bad, don't you think that you share a
I
little?
like how
My
Hassan.
audio just cut out.
What's up?
Hey again.
I'm sorry.
We're
I
live.
just having audio problems.
Okay.
Oh shit.
Yeah, no, we're live streaming, but don't worry about it. So he's talking about throwing out words carelessly. This is the guy that calls everybody racist.
Yeah.
Everything's a white
Yeah.
supremacist. I mean, I find that, and then he was, you know, I don't know, man. It's just he was trying to accuse Jesse Lee of being a hypocrite, and it's, man.
A bit of that moral
Not at all. That's their
responsibility?
issue, not mine.
Huh, interesting.
Thank you. So
Okay.
let me
That's
ask.
not very manlike,
Have
is
you
it?
noticed that?
Is that very alpha? Is that an alpha
to
thing?
what?
To not take responsibility for your actions? I feel like that's not a very alpha
My
thing.
responsibility is to have faith, be what I say, and put the truth out there. It's your
I
responsibility
think you're
to.
absolving yourself of a lot of guilt and
It's your
responsibility for a lot of the things that
responsibility
you're
to
saying.
receive it or not.
Oh,
I got to
okay.
ask you this though. So
However it suits you, Jesse.
you say that
getting hostile.
you're okay with illegal alien crossing to the border?
I don't think any human being is illegal. You can.
Oh my
Oh
God.
God.
So this is like beyond communism. Like even communists believe in borders, right? I mean, I don't
Yeah.
like. What is this? What are we watching? He's a anarchist. He's against states. He's against borders.
Just Son Piker. That's
Right.
all.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's quite a blend of ideas.
Mm.
So I'd love to hear him tell us how it's going to work to not have borders. What does he think that future is going to hold? Like when his cushy suburb in West LA gets overrun by unfortunates, by people that might not be, the most ideal neighbors, you think he's going to change his tune? Or is this just like a philosophical utopia that he's envisioning? It's so naive. It's so naive to say this. I mean, God.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever been to Mexico? You go to Mexico. Mexico is different than America. Mexico is, and when I say different, not as good. Okay, so when you come back to America, the first thing you think to yourself is, thank God America is still America. Thank God there is that difference. And if you think that not having a border is not going to affect that, of course it's going to flatten everything out. All the people from shit countries will pour into the good countries, and then the good countries will cease to be good countries.
Does he get paid well, Hassan? Like, does he?
65,000 a year from the Young Turks, plus whatever he makes on Twitch and Instagram.
Yeah.
So he compensates, and he has his little avenues of. I'm sure he's selling products on Instagram and crap like that.
Yeah,
Rings.
Rings, secret Dakota ring,
Communist rings.
bracelets.
Oh, it's so embarrassing that he thinks he has ideas that are going to shake up the world.
Yeah.
Describe to me why you think that human beings
Do you
are
know
illegal.
legal and illegal when you see it?
Yeah.
And what a childish talking point. Tell me why you think human beings are illegal. The human being itself is not illegal. It's their placement in the world, their national identity. You cannot be in a place and just live and exist in a place unless you abide by the laws of that nation. I mean, you have to explain to them what a nation is and why a nation is necessary and useful. I mean, and this gets back to the zombie shit. There's millions and millions of people out there. And don't think that we're not that far removed from a time where, we still have scarcity of resources. It is very competitive out there. You cannot just LARP and pretend that, let's just love and peace, man, and let's just, all humans are equal and let's all live together in harmony. That ain't it,
You got
man.
a super chat.
What does it say?
Nothing. Just $10.
I love it. I love it. Thank
From
you, sir.
Destiny Gamroth.
Nice. She's from Vegas. I love it. Cool.
How could you
Do you know the difference
distinguish?
between illegal and legal?
Yes.
People crossing to our borders without permit. They're sneaking across the border. Is
Why do
that
you think they're doing
legal?
that?
Is that legal?
Why do you
that's not
think
part
they're?
of it.
Look at the empathy.
Jesus.
Why do you think they're doing that? This is like saying, Do you understand that rape is wrong? Yeah, okay, but why do you think the guy did that?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't care why he did it.
Yeah, it's not part of
Illegal.
It's
the
illegal, but why do you think
discussion.
they're doing that?
You say what?
It's illegal. Why do you think they're
What
doing
did you
that?
say? You said it real fast.
It's illegal, but it doesn't matter.
And
I
so
know
do
it's
you
not.
want illegals coming across our
And
border?
by the
he
way,
just
the argument doesn't make sense either. So this is like what's the word, like malignant empathy on display. So he's about to say they're doing that. They're coming into the country because, well, there's two ways you can go with this. One, he could say fuck America. American economic and foreign policy is ruining these countries, and so therefore they have to flee to have a better life. But really, it's just that they're looking to improve their lives, so that's why they come into the country. So we should let them do that because who doesn't want to improve their lives? Well, Hassan, by that logic, the people in the country want to improve their lives, and part of improving your life is not detracting from the quality of your life. And one guaranteed way to do that is to open your borders and let hordes of people come into your country. Your life will suffer. So that the logic he's using to defend why these people are flooding into the country is the same reason why we should not let them flood into the country.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant
Yeah,
point, and I'm Devin Tracy, Patreon me. Thank you.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, 100%. But why is it a bad
And
thing?
why do you want that?
The interesting conversation to have here is
Why do you want that?
think it's a bad thing.
Because it's
What?
wrong.
But why is it
I
wrong?
put my country first.
Why is it wrong?
What is this like? Who's that? Saiten Bruggencate, the guy who was he's assuming that it's like Jesse's responsibility to tell you why we should have the status of illegals. Like why should that be a thing? You tell me why. It's a very lazy way of approaching it. Hassan doesn't have an argument for why we shouldn't have borders, so he's like, you tell me why we should have borders. This is an easy thing to defend, but I love how Hassan thinks he has this novel angle on this argument. It's so stupid.
Because I put my country
But
first.
what about all
and-
these people that you're talking about? A lot of them came here illegally as well.
Like
America
who?
was started as an illegal colony. In the end of the day, they came.
Okay, so we should shut down. We should have a borderless country, and we should let illegal immigrants come in because the country was illegally started. Because why? Illegal on whose? Where was it illegal? The colonies weren't illegal. It was legal in British law. The only illegal act was the revolution. But to make this comparison is demented and stupid. Do you
yeah.
do you agree?
Yeah, it's a weird way to fucking. Why would you even say that? It's so weird.
He scrambles for a point. It's amazing how his mind just. God, he wants a win.
At the end of the day,
Where's
they
your
came here
proof?
and they genocided Native Americans.
Where's your
They
proof?
were
They genocided Native
Yeah.
Americans. That's a lie. That's a child of the lie right there.
Yeah, it
No
didn't work like that.
Native Americans were genocided, and if anything, you could say they lost a war, which there were various wars, and yeah, the Native Americans lost. So they genocided, eat shit.
That.
illegally here.
Where's your proof of that?
History.
What do you mean?
Do you deny history?
What do you mean by
Do you
that? when
deny
you say
that
I don't know what
pilgrims
you
came
mean.
in? Okay. Do you deny that when pilgrims came here, then they?
I like this idea. Hassan, how about the Muslims? What are they doing in Turkey? You don't think they took over? What are they doing in all the places that they're in? Did they genocide the people? The Turkish genocided the Armenians and the
Yeah.
Slovenians and the Greeks. Are we going to mention that? No, we're in the middle of white shaming the founding fathers of America.
And then genocided Native Americans and killed them, systemically targeted them, moved them away from their land.
Systemically targeted them. What's the difference between saying systemically targeted them and targeted them?
Yeah.
What is the
So
difference?
weird.
Aside from sucking your own dick
Buzzword.
verbally? Yeah, systemically targeted them. Shut up. Cunt.
Lands that they used to live on. Do you deny that that's a real thing?
Yes.
Wait, what do you think
And
happened
so
then?
if they genocide them and move them away, what was wrong with the Indians that they didn't protect themselves?
What was wrong with them?
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. That's a really good point. See, there's hidden pearls of wisdom in Jesse. His mind went to that point, which is to what you're focusing on what the colonizers did, but why aren't we criticizing the Native Americans? They went to war with these people. Why did they let this happen? And Hassan can't. That's why he's malfunctioning right now, because he can't give them agency, and he considers them to be victims, just like he does black people. So when Jesse Lee says, "Why can't black people succeed? Why can't they do better economically or in schools or have better success at marriages?" And Hassan's like, "But systemic systems and the whites and it's the same thing. This is why pattern recognition is important. because the same mistakes Hassan's making right now with the Native Americans is what he does with the black community. There's a logical, it's a structural, ironically, problem in his thinking patterns.
They didn't have the same access to technology that
No,
the
that's not
people
what
did.
wrong.
Oh, that's wrong.
Native Americans didn't have guns, dude. First of all, they took the horse. They adapted that pretty well. They adapted guns pretty well. They were quite adept, and actually, a lot of their weaponry was had advantages. They knew the terrain. They were not ineffective with bow and
Yeah.
arrow. I mean,
They could be quiet too in the woods. That's
yeah,
very important to be
exactly.
quiet.
The Native Americans could fuck shit up. Alf would like me talking about this because he was essentially a glorified Native American. But you know what I'm saying? Like, again, he demeans them. He's like, oh, they didn't have access. They did, though. Have you not seen? Like, I mean, like, why does he think Native Americans couldn't just take the gun or figure out how to make guns for themselves? Or they did this. They did this with the horse. Come on, man.
They weren't. That's not the problem.
What's the problem?
They were on pot. They were smoking that stuff. What they call it?
Wait a
They
minute.
were on pot.
He's not wrong.
They
I don't.
did
I,
smoke.
I don't think it's the quintessential issue why the Native Americans lost these various wars because they were on the pot. But I mean, see, this is Jesse being joking.
Yeah,
Like he's like 10% serious right there.
it's pot and sluts.
They were lesbians.
Yeah.
Ay,
They were
ay,
smoking
ay.
peace pipe with pot in it.
Well, people still smoke peace pipes all
That's
the
for
time.
sure.
They do.
I got to ask you about
lot of
millennial
people
men.
do.
What a weird transition that was. The Native Americans
Did you
lost
say
the
I could
war.
ask you about Melania? Melania?
Probably millennials.
Oh, okay.
Native Americans lost the wars because they were on pot. Hassan goes, well, today people smoke pot.
Yeah,
kind of-
what is that? What does that mean?
What is that?
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
it means nothing. Man,
I gotta ask
do
you.
any of you guys smoke weed? In
You
the
smoke
studio?
pot?
They would
No,
suck
I
at
don't
war,
anymore.
too.
But
You used to smoke pot?
Oh, they do. They smoke weed.
You used to smoke pot?
I used to, yeah.
What made you stop?
No, I just felt like I didn't. It wasn't for me.
Why?
I felt like I was less productive, and I
Shocker.
felt like I would contemplate too much about the meaningless of existence and all
meaningless.
these things that that I normally think about. That's in the back of my mind.
I can't
But
deal
when
with
I was
pot. It's
when I was high or when I would get really high, I would just get into these like deep states of consciousness.
No, you're just
I guess
stoned.
where
Shut
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
You're just stoned. Just stop.
What
Stop.
a pretentious faggot.
All you potheads out there, stop with
Yeah.
that shit.
I would think too deeply. That was my problem when I got stoned.
Yeah.
God, he was
That was
scared.
way too deep, dude.
Yeah, I was going into like breaking through doors of perception, and that weren't supposed to be opened, and yeah, not.
I
remotely
was
true.
too aware of all of the things that were going on, and it was
No, right.
a scary reality. A lot of us have this capability, but we
Oh my
actively
God.
silence it.
Oh my God, he's acting like he has some super brain. Hassan's brain can't be tinkered with because it unlocks power and wisdom, and he makes connections that aren't supposed to be made. It's very dangerous.
For example, we're currently on a spinning sphere.
Oh my
on the-
God.
on-
This is pure Roganism. That's
Oh
pure,
my God.
Yeah.
pure pothead bullshit Roganism. We're on a.
I told you, he's a kid. He's
Yeah.
a kid.
He's impressed by that.
Yeah.
We're on this ball of fucking Earth, and it's just it's just ripping through time and space, man. Have you ever thought about that? Fucking crazy, right? Oh my God.
going nowhere.
I gotta ask you
essentially.
this real
But
fast
if you
because
thought
of
about
time.
it every day, you would go crazy.
I gotta ask you this
No.
because of time.
Okay.
And so you're okay with illegal aliens coming across the border, right? And you're
Yeah.
not for the wall, right?
Yeah, I'm not for the wall.
you're from
And I
Turkey.
think that no human
You're from
beings are
Turkey,
illegal.
right?
Oh my
And
God. Is he going to bring up the wall in Cyprus? Here we go.
I think that it would be better off if we treated the people that were coming here to better themselves and to look for better opportunities. If we treated them with the same
You're
dignity
from
that we treat all
You're
American
from
citizens,
Turkey, right?
So he's just talking over him. So we treat the immigrants, the illegal aliens that come here, with the same dignity that we treat Americans. So in other words, there is no difference between people in your tribe, your nation, that you have paid into. So blood, sweat, and tears, taxes, you have built this country to be a thing. Now,
Yeah.
apparently that is open season for everyone else in the world to take on, to leech off, and to diminish. That is not a sustainable paradigm. I mean, now what points does he earn from saying a stupid fucking thing like that? Do you think the 35-year-old cat lady who's listening to this is like, that's a sweet thought? That, because all people, I agree, this is sweet. Like, this is the kind of people that watch Upworthy, the YouTube channel, which is just feel good stories, inspiration. Oh, there was a cripple in Madagascar who learned how to walk, and isn't that sweet?
What's a channel?
Upworthy. Things worthy of
I don't know.
voting up. Upworthy. Yeah, it's really, it speaks to a certain group of people that they want that messaging. They want to feel good about themselves.
Guys, just feel good about everything, guys.
Right. So, like, in other words, they'll watch a story of a homeless dog that was a beaten dog, and somebody nursed it back to health, and they see a compilation over a 10-year period or 2-year period, and the dog is healthy, and they end that video and they go, I'm gonna do my part. I'm gonna hit a like on that video. Good job on that. I love dogs, and it was so sweet to see that dog. It was so sad and scared at the beginning, and at the end, it was so fluffy and loved. Now,
I've seen that kind of stuff on Twitter. Yeah,
but
videos, yeah.
that same person will not reach into their wallet and send money to an animal shelter. They're not doing that. They just want to feel. They just want the emotional perk off of pretending. And that's what I'm guessing. Like, why would Hassan say something that is so palpably stupid that we should eradicate borders and treat everyone the same because goodness? I mean, is that the communist ethic? Is that his stupid ass, naive, simplistic version of how he wants the world to be? I'm trying to figure out a way, like, how to rationalize it, because the way it sounds is just lunacy. It sounds like just demented lunacy. But somehow he must get a positive validation for saying stupid shit like that. And I'm thinking it comes from his cat lady followers on Instagram.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah.
Everyone would improve.
You're from
Everyone's
Turkey,
lives.
right?
Yes, yes.
You're from Turkey. Are you in support of Israel putting a wall around its border?
No, I'm not.
They should not have done.
You're not going to bring up the Cyprus Wall?
Yeah,
The Cyprus Wall, he doesn't know about it. But don't go to Israel. Shit. Call him out on Turkey.
No, it's a violent ethno state. Of course, I'm not in support of it.
It's a violent ethno state. Israel. Who is shocked that this guy characterizes Israel as a violent ethno state?
No, I'm not shocked at all. It's hilarious.
As opposed to everything around it.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally not an ethno state, and it is not violent. It's peaceful. These people are self-defense is not violence. Especially when it's existential, with the threats being presented against you. I can't wait to go to Israel. I'm getting into Eurovision right now. Tomorrow, me and my girlfriend are going to review the songs that have been selected. And I'm going to be I'm going to pry all of your mouths open and your brain holes with a friggin' crowbar and just shove Eurovision content down it. To the point where you're going to be like sitting there. YouTube's going to start recommending Eurovision content for you.
I think Grant was telling me that he wants to stream with you about Eurovision.
Actually,
but he said he's going to be busy because he's starting up the Skeptic Fence with Joe.
Yeah,
so,
no, Grant. There are some groups out of Finland that Grant would probably be into. There's some heavy like death metal shit coming out of them. But no, Eurovision is fun because getting back to what we were saying earlier about originality, about being inspired by passion, being inspired by creativity. That's what this is. It's, can you make a meaningful, fun, catchy song that celebrates life and gets people hyped? Can you do that? Now, you and I can't do that. If we could do that, we would have done that. But so when other people from different countries around Europe try to do that, don't poo-poo on it. Just admire their attempts and recognize when they achieve success, and then have fun when they fail gloriously. This is a fun enterprise. I don't see why anybody wouldn't be into that. I think it's people just aren't familiar with it because none of us grew up with it. Out here, it's very common. But I'm telling you, man, Eurovision. It's one of my most unpopular held beliefs. I'm convincing people to pee sitting down. Like, this is a quest of mine. Eurovision, man, it's happening. I'm going to be broadcasting from Israel, from the violent ethno state of Israel. And I love how this guy who claims to be so like modern and progressive and noble And what does he do? He parrots the typical anti-Semitic bullshit, typical Muslim, typical Turkish point of view, which is fuck Israel.
Yep.
Incredible.
That.
Amazing. And so I want to ask you, if it wasn't for white people, there would be no America, right?
America
it
in
would
the
still be
current
controlled
sense.
by the Indians.
There would still be
and whatever,
America.
right?
Native
No,
Americans.
Huh? No, what? No, America is not Native America. There is no Hassan. There was not a country called Native America.
America.
But see, let me just dissect one really quickly. What Hassan just said made no sense. Okay, we just paused it and analyzed it. No, there wouldn't be America, but the United States of America, but there'd be Native America. Okay, that is a non sequitur. It doesn't mean anything.
Republic of Native
Yeah,
America.
exactly. But what he thinks he just achieved is a mini win, because he thinks he was contrarian to Jesse. He's like, well, there would be America, but there would be Native America. He thinks he's like, I don't know, he's won an arm wrestling match intellectually when he hasn't done anything. But he's too Dunning-Kruger to realize not only did he not win, he's making an embarrassment of himself in this attempt to do so. Let's see. He'll continue though. It's not over.
Would be living here. It would be drastically different. But
stay with me.
I'm with you.
Stay with me.
I'm with
if
you
it
all the
wasn't
way.
for white people, because white people discovered and built America,
Discovered.
and then they created a constitution.
There's no way he's going to let him say discovered.
Yeah.
See, right now he's interjecting on the Christopher Columbus bullshit. Watch. Do you realize there were people in America before white people arrived? Watch.
You think white people are better than black people?
What?
Oh, God.
How did he go to that? Do you think white people are better than black people? Wow. Do you think Jesse will answer that?
What a mess.
I think Jesse might say yes. To be provocative, he might say yes.
Oh, he might, yeah.
Yeah, I could see him.
And then they created a constitution that would allow your mother to come here and have you illegally. Do you
think of what a weird question this is? We're an hour into this video, and Hassan, who is an admitted white person, is saying to this Jesse Lee, who's born on plantation, do you think white people are better than black people? Like, what a cunty question is that?
Yeah.
Now, Hassan's answer, why don't ask Hassan that? Hassan would say no, and then say, do you think blacks are better than whites? No. Do you think Turkish are better than Americans? Like, he's not going to take a stand on anything, which is a lie. He is the child of the lie. He actually does have opinions on these things, but he's too much of a pussy. He doesn't like the optics of it. He's not going to tell you. That's why I'm turning around. And if anybody wants to talk about supremacy of one race over another, I'm going to turn the camera onto them, the spotlight onto them, and be like, okay, let's talk about supremacy of races. How do we want to quantify that? You tell me and let's figure it out. You and I talk this out in public. They don't want to do that. And they're going to come up with it's all equal, everybody's the same. No, what? No. That is not that conversation. And you know it and I know it. So don't even start with that shit.
Here illegally? No, it was a legal process. But do you, wait, hold on.
Fair? Let me finish my question. Hold on. Is it fair to white Americans to be treated that way? They were kind enough to let you into this country, and you're going to turn your backs on the people who let you here. Is that fair?
You have not established why opening our borders would be
Oh, by the way, this is not about race. You could make that question to Hassan. Americans let you in, of all races, and you are anti-American actively.
Yeah.
So why? And you want to destroy the very concept of America, the borders. If you have no borders, you have no country.
Yeah.
So forget, should white people think that's fair? Should any American think that's fair?
Fair to them.
No. Is that fair to treat white Americans that way?
Why do you want to single out white Americans?
Because
I think that when people come into this country, it improves everyone's lives.
It's their country. They let you come here.
It's not their country.
It is their country.
But it's not.
Whose country is it?
It's everyone's country. There's no such thing as like this is white country.
Well,
you understand the concept.
So, I mean, this is Jesse being provocative again. It's obviously not white people's country. It is the citizens. It's all of our country. But he's melding his point from earlier, which is that white people did start the country.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's clear he does his research and he wants to get under.
So, yeah.
You see Hassan getting agitated, right? He's biting right into this.
But I mean, if you take a step back and look at this conversation as a whole, it is a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
Like,
oh God, yeah, it's a disaster.
It's talking past each other. It's talking over each other. It's straw manning. It's all of these pitfalls, right? Which is frustrating. Yep. Like, it's not. Like, what does Sam Harris say? Experiments in conversation. This is an experiment that just blew up, and like you got to go. Your eyes are bleeding, and you have to go into that emergency shower system. Anyway.
concept of whiteness
It is white country.
predicated around
No, it's
exclusion,
white country.
and that the concept of whiteness has expanded throughout time.
He triggered Hassan by mentioning white, like he mentioned the word white 4 or 5 times, and now Hassan is going into his prepackaged speech about the concept of whiteness and how the Irish didn't used to be considered white, and now what is whiteness? It's for you to be white, you're excluding others, and it's fuck the whites, and it's people of color must rally together to. That's his mindset right now, and by the way, this is a Marxist concept. It's swapping out the races for the classes. So it's the same exact bitterness and resentment, and it doesn't make any sense, just like Marxism doesn't.
Hispanic people were not considered white. Jews were not considered white, and according to some white people, they're still not considered white. Irish people were not considered.
So this is what Sargon did when he talked to Richard Spencer, which was get bogged down in the just the details, the mindless, mundane details of minutia of what is it to be white. Is anybody unclear as to what white is? I mean, it's ridiculous, and it's not even the topic. Right, so Jesse's not saying, this is what I consider white people. This is a separate conversation that is petty and meaningless. But like Hassan, talk about who should be considered white. He doesn't even know if he's white. I call him Brown Fabio because obviously the generic term white means nothing. I mean, it means very little, and it's really an American way of looking at things.
Yeah.
If you are too lazy intellectually to notice that this guy is a Muslim from Turkey, and if you just want to group him in with, some hillbilly from Wisconsin because they have similar skin tone, you're just lazy as shit.
Yeah.
Marino is a Canadian. Does that mean he's just like a white lumberjack bearded Canadian? No, he's a Italian. He's like a first generation Italian. So I can't be that nuanced. I can't realize that there are Italians in Canada. I think I can do it. I think we should all strive to be a little bit more complex in our understanding of things.
You understand that that concept is expanded. I'm not wasting time. I'm trying to educate you on a thing that you should know about.
Trying to educate you.
Okay. 27.
Hassan's upset.
27-year-old man trying to educate a 70-year-old man. On what? I mean, what is Hassan's expertise in? What is he? Imagine the fake, the fake confidence to try to teach a 70-year-old something about just life itself, about the way things are. Jesse, listen to this 27-year-old talk.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
You talk about it. This is very irresponsible that you talk about this concept without actually providing historical context to it.
If white people had not built America, would you be here today?
I don't know. I have no idea. That would be a drastically different reality.
Is it fair to white people that white men and women, especially straight conservative Christian men and women, are hated after they
are they?
And they're called white supremacists. They're called all kind of bad names.
Well, white supremacists
Is it
are
fair
called
to white people to treat them that way?
That's the problem, Hassan.
Yeah, there's nobody who ever gets mislabeled, I guess.
Right. I'm surprised Jesse hasn't brought up TYT in the shit.
Well, he did mention Chink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't think he watches. Or, I don't think he has the time.
Yeah.
But I like the idea. Well, white supremacists are called out for being white supremacists. Then why is it that you guys call next to everybody a white supremacist? And then if you it doesn't make sense because the people that you refer to as white supremacists don't themselves refer to themselves as white supremacists.
Can you imagine? He just looks at Hassan and says, "Next question: What the fuck is Anna's problem?"
Right. Yeah.
Is Anna better than you?
Exactly. Jesse could have been better informed. I don't know what's on his iPad, but let me write some questions for Jesse. I would love to pipe those in there.
After they have built the greatest country on this side of heaven and allow your mama to come here from Turkey.
Do you not think that black people played a significant role in building this country?
You're not answering my question.
No, they didn't. What are you talking about? I'm sorry. Black people are great, but you cannot. We was kings, American history. You literally weren't kings, and you did not provide anywhere near what the pioneers and the white colonials did. I mean, just from sheer numbers alone. Yeah. They were a very small minority of people, and they were not in positions of power, and they did not play an instrumental role at all. Now,
They were relegated to certain areas.
Exactly.
They weren't even all as widespread.
I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, boo-hoo for the blacks, we were enslaved and we were oppressed and we were just toiling in the fields, and then, oh, also we were instrumental in building the country. You weren't. It's retarded. Now, if you want to talk about post-slavery, their achievements and their contributions have been obviously more, but that's just, now they're just American citizens. They're full-fledged American citizens. And even then, the whole game is a game of beating your chest. It's saying, oh, people that were my color did X. Neil Armstrong was white, therefore I'm great. No, it doesn't work like that.
Is that fair to white
Say
people?
yes or no. Do you think black people did?
No.
Do you
Is
not think
that
that black
fair
people
to
played a
white
significant
people?
role?
Is that
No,
fair
I don't think they played a significant role. I don't at all.
to white
Okay,
people?
there's no such thing. Like, there's no fairness to white people. This is not a white person's country. Asian people played a significant
They
role
didn't
in
build
building
this.
this.
What do you mean significant role? Like, what is he giving out? Also ran awards like participation trophies?
Yeah.
Asians, they helped build the railroads, and blacks, they picked cotton. I mean, what are we doing here? Are they in need of that? Hey, Asians and blacks, do you need a pat on the back in that way? What is this? Why is he denying the obvious historical truth of who built America?
It's crazy.
It's weird.
Country. Who built this country?
They left their
Do you
country
not
to
think-
come here.
Do you not think that black people played a significant
No,
role?
Hassan.
Do you not think that
no,
African Americans?
No, not at all.
A
They were
significant
literal
role.
slaves. There was not many of them, and they were slaves. So clearly not. Clearly they didn't play a significant role. That's the. I like how he's throwing that question out there like it's some devastatingly, like, just raw question that nobody's willing to tackle. The answer is fucking no, Hassan. Packer, dumb bitch.
Americans played a significant role in building this
No.
country?
There you go.
How-
Jesse Lee.
Oh.
Jesse Lee just looked him in the face and said, no, fucking no.
No.
Jesse Lee grew up on a plantation. Do you know who built the plantation? White people. Oh, did they employ manual labor from a black or a Mexican? Probably not a Mexican.
Yeah, not in those times.
Exactly. They, man. But you see that Hassan's not willing to give credit to white people at all. You see that his position is fuck whites, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
He's not going to say, look, no, don't get me wrong. White people have done a huge amount. They've moved mountains. I mean, they built Mount Rushmore, literally.
Yeah.
No, they're not going to say that. He's just going to be like, no, fuck them. And what about the others?
Okay. All right. Well,
Be-
do you think white
because-
people are better than black people?
Oh, here we go.
Let's
Better
just get
in-
right to it. Do you
yeah,
think white people are better than black
in the
people?
sense that,
What, better in what sense?
Here we
I'm
go.
about to tell you, is that they create and black people destroy.
Oh,
Look at him. He's going mental. Okay, so
He's gonna have a titty attack.
now this is again Jesse being hyperbolic and being like a showman, but there's a huge amount of truth to that. Huge amount. And this is where you get down to go outside of America. Look at other nations. Now they've built things, but nowhere to the degree that whites have built things. And it's hard to detach the colonial impact of whites in Africa, for example, or in the Caribbean, because half the fucking infrastructure and the reason that those countries are modernized is because of white people. So, okay, but put it this way: look at Africa post-colonialism. So, the whites come in, they build up those societies, bring them into the sort of 20th century, and then since they left, look at what has happened. Go look at Zimbabwe. Go look at South Africa. Go look at any of these places. There's countless examples of this.
Yeah.
It has gone to shit. So what Jesse is saying, there's a lot of truth to it, and there's a lot of citations I could shove down your face. Look at Liberia.
holy crap, dude. Oh my God. You have
Look at white communities in America. Look at black communities in America. Now, if you want to get honest, and some black people do, by the way, what have black people created in America? What is the South Side of Chicago? What is that? Can you get beyond the bullshit narrative of, oh, the blacks in Chicago, the reason that is a fucking joke and a hellscape is because of whites. If you can ignore that temptation to lie to yourself like that, then what is the excuse for that? And why is Portland amazing? And why is Switzerland amazing? And why is Germany amazing? Why? I mean, it's not just race. It's about culture. It's about a track record. It's about momentum. It's about successful parents breeding successful children. And what that does after, once you reach a critical mass of successful people working together. This is not hard to figure out. What do you guys think?
think he's retarded.
I'm still shocked about your speech so
About what? I could hear.
about Eurovision. I'm
Oh
still
yeah,
shocked.
yeah, yeah. You're in. Well, that's yeah. This is all killing time before Eurovision, honestly. And look, it's not the only blind spot that Marino has. I called him out in my last video. He has not watched Game of Thrones. So
Oh.
No, I haven't either.
if you guys what?
Oh, did you hear that?
I haven't either.
Dude.
Yeah.
Okay, then you guys need to buddy and rabbit that thing.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to.
Oh,
No.
we're not gonna do that.
You have a couple months. Look, you got a couple months before the final season. I guarantee you, it'll be an investment of time that is worth your while. And to talk about
We're gonna have to
visuals,
binge it.
there's visuals up the ass with this. There's music. The opening credits are fucking fantastic. You need to watch it. There's no excuse. And if you know these people, find them on Twitter, Marino and Alf, and just pressure them. Just send them little messages.
Fuck.
Just send them images.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I've been through this before. It's all right, Marino. You can pass it.
That is shocking. I mean, because all of my Game of Thrones analogies are just going to fall on deaf ears.
No, I know them. Oh, no
Okay.
enough.
All right.
I
Well,
know about that wedding and the dragon
join the lore.
and shit.
Yeah, the dragons
Lord.
dragons get married. It's quite a thing.
Yeah.
go.
Black employees, how do they sit here and listen to you peddle this garbage?
It's the truth.
What? Black employees? Wait, modern day black employees? We're talking about the formation of the country. Obviously, blacks today contribute. But that's not
Yeah.
building of a nation. Come on now.
What a garbage perspective, Jesse.
You think black people
There's
are better
no
than
way you actually believe this.
So then
there is
explain
no
that.
way you're honest.
Es-
You
es-
think,
es-
as a black man, that white
Do you see
people
that?
are
Do you see
better.
that? Okay, wait a minute. That says everything right there. That he just outed himself. He's such a moron. As a black man, you don't think. So that's how he prefaced that thought. In other words, the historical truth of who built America is not relevant. What is relevant is who are you? You as a black man. Now, what's your comment on the historical truth of who built America? What's it going to feel to you to say? Like if I say blacks were pivotal, they were just totally essential to the formation of America. That feels good as a black man to say that because me black, me must represent me tribe. That's how they think. That is identity politics. So the truth doesn't matter. It's how you feel.
Yeah.
What's your tribe? How do you feel? And Hassan feels like he's not white. He feels like he's different, that he doesn't fit in. And he feels like he wants to hype up his people. That's why he's not going to criticize Turkey. Oh, he'll criticize Israel. He says Israel's a violent ethno-state. Turkey is 99% Muslim. And the way they treat their minorities is total shit. And
Yep.
how do you think Turkey became Turkey? The Ottoman Empire is
Yeah.
one of the most violent empires of all time.
Yeah, conquest.
Right. And he's, I'm against walls. What about the fucking wall in Cyprus that you motherfuckers built? Oh, yeah. I'm against the colonial people genociding the Indians. Really? What about how you genocided all the people out where you are? I mean, that's why it's about feelings. It's about who's saying it. And it's not about what's being said.
Yeah.
Because black people destroy?
In
really?
the sense that they build and black people destroy.
Wait, how? What
So
do you
let me
mean
ask
by
you
that?
this. I have the proof.
You have the proof.
I have the proof.
Okay.
Have you noticed? You probably haven't noticed because we don't have statistics. But have you noticed that white people will allow black people to come into their beautiful neighborhoods, and then the blacks will come, white people will leave, and the
Do
black.
you see how triggered he is?
Yeah, look at his face.
By the way, this is true. Go ask Tommy Sotomayor. Guy lives
Yeah.
in a cookie cutter block of houses in some part of Arizona. White neighborhood. He used to be in Atlanta. He knows what it is to be among blacks. He goes to Arizona. Every video he does, you know what he says? The whites are awesome. Great neighbors. They're decent
Yeah.
people. I've met them. I know their families. They treat me with respect. It's straight up. And he's like, I wish I was living like this my whole life. Not living with
Yeah.
white people, but just living in a peaceful environment where people respect each other. And coming from Toronto in Canada, I see this. And up in Toronto, Toronto's not a white ethno-state. There's a ton of minorities in Toronto, right? Right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
it's
and
very
they,
mixed.
but they all get along and they all respect
Yep.
each other, and that is the essential ingredient. It's not the race; it's the characteristics that are sometimes disproportionately associated with different races and different cultures. That's just the
Yeah.
truth of it. But look at Hassan; he's just mad. He's just mad because white
Yeah.
people are being praised in his presence. He's like,
Yeah,
no,
he's been
this
getting real agitated.
is not what I'm about. I'm about the exact opposite of this.
Blacks, rather than keeping that going, they would destroy it. Have you noticed they tear it down rather than build on it? Have you noticed that?
No, I have not noticed what you're talking about.
You haven't seen statistics on that?
Statistics. That was amazing. We have to have like a nurse standing by if he tries to pronounce that word again. Statistics. You have seen statistics? Yeah, man. So ask Hassan to name the top 10 black cities in the country.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess you could, the affluent parts of Atlanta, I guess, like what are we talking about? I mean, there's a few rich people in wherever. It's,
Yeah,
but
you got a few rich ones here
yeah,
and there. But
as a whole, I mean, it's very difficult. And the statistics back that up.
No, I don't know what you're referencing.
Do black people
I'm still in
build-
awe that you are like a real person who genuinely has this perspective. I thought this was
And you know what else? I'll just say, I don't care that black neighborhoods are shit. I don't care. I don't live in them. I'm living in Switzerland. I'm living in Melbourne. I'm living in, Los Angeles. Well, I should care. Denver, shit like that. Like I'm not going in. I'm not a community organizer in New Orleans. Okay, it's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter to me. The point that matters to me is a guy from LA, this fucking 27-year-old schmuck, is being intellectually dishonest for no reason. There's no reason for this. This is the same thing about lying about Jesus Christ, the existence of Moses, the divinity of Christ. Like the intellectual dishonesty is what irks me. The topic of race and the success of a given city, it's neither here nor there for me. It doesn't matter. Do you understand that? Like, it's just an affront. It's insulting to me to be living in a time where so many people are lying about the truth, about races and stats and just reality. Just stop lying about reality. That's my message. Because it's a waste. Because we can't improve reality if we're not accurately assessing reality. So the whole thing is counterproductive.
Yeah, you can't solve a problem if you don't want to admit the problem.
Right. It's like, right. If you go to a doctor, what's the first thing that happens? They figure out what's wrong with you. They have, what's the word for that? The medical term, the analysis of your condition, the
diagnosis.
Yeah, your diagnosis. Exactly. So their diagnosis of societal problems that we have is just completely wrong. This is malpractice, intellectual malpractice.
Because they don't want to hurt
just
people's
like
feelings.
Uncle Ruckus.
Yeah, because
I don't want to hurt the patient's feelings, so I'm not going to tell them they have cancer.
Exactly, and that's why he said earlier, Jesse, I can't believe you, as a black man, think that blacks weren't super amazing all-stars about the building of the country.
I can't believe you don't have a massive ego.
It's in the Boondocks.
No,
like I
this is
thought
real.
this wasn't like a real fucking person,
No,
a
this is
real
real
human
deal.
being who genuinely has this perspective.
Do you notice
So he just called him an Uncle Tom.
Yeah, basically.
That's what he said.
that blacks create ghettos?
No, the government, the system creates
the
ghettos.
capitalism. Capitalism creates ghettos. Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, why are there so many less ghettos in other countries or white-dominated countries? Why?
So
No, do you want to
does
live in
the
a ghetto?
system-
You're black. Do you want to live in a ghetto?
Does the system
Do you want to
live
live in a ghetto?
Does the system live
Does
in a
anyone
ghetto?
want to live in a ghetto?
Who
Jay?
are-
Sorry, what does this mean? Somebody finish that thought. Finish what you think Hassan's trying to say there.
I have no idea.
So here's what
Do
I
you
think.
want to live in the ghetto? Yeah.
Do
He's
you-
trying to say because you're a black guy and you don't want to live in the ghetto, then no black people want to.
Right.
Live
Okay.
In the ghetto.
So this only proves the point. Black people don't want to live
Yeah.
in ghettos, and yet they do, and they can't seem to get out of them or create
Yeah.
foster an environment where it's going to be less ghettofied. Like they should have thriving, prosperous black communities everywhere. Now, why are they not doing that? That's the heart of the issue.
Yeah.
Jesse would say they need to start doing that. I think they can do that. Let's do that. And Hassan would say, fuck capitalism, fuck whites, don't worry blacks, just wallow in your ghetto because I know you can't get out of it on your own. And he claims to not be the racist. He claims to be the woke
that's
bae.
The funny part.
It's sensational. It's so disrespectful.
Who is the system?
The system is capitalism. It's the American political structure that consistently holds not just black people back, but all people back.
So
They
are
hold
you
black people back
saying
even
that-
further than
So if it holds all people back, then why is there a disparity in the economic success of these groups? I mean, it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't.
other people on
So
top
you're
of
saying that the system will not
Would
allow
you like
black.
to live in a ghetto?
Let me ask you this:
But
Are
just
you
say yes or
saying
no.
that?
Why do you never answer my
No, I don't want to
questions?
live in no ghetto. I don't live in no
Okay,
ghetto.
exactly. Do
But
you
let me
think
ask
other
you
people
this.
want to live in a ghetto? No, they're not.
So here's the point.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything to say right now. Other black people don't want to live in a ghetto, so what? What?
Yeah. Then what? You haven't finished that
Not
thought.
building ghettos
Then why
because they
don't
want
they
to live in a
clean them
ghetto.
up then?
Yeah.
It's not about
There you
like
go.
See that? He just said it. I predicted this. Jesse says, why don't they clean up their ghettos? Just like
And you hear Hassan stumbling, right?
Yeah,
He's like,
right. He laughs. Because it's not about they can't do it. It's because it's over them. It's out of their pay grade. It's a system. It's capital. No, it's not that at all, Hassan. Why am I not in a ghetto in Switzerland right now? Mostly white people, vastly majority white, like 90-something%, and it's charming and picturesque and fairy tale, and it's literally the happiest place on earth. So,
Are there any rough areas in Switzerland?
none. It's all the same.
Yeah, zero.
It's yeah. I'll shoot some video down here. It's ridiculous.
They're not ghettos when they move in there.
When you're a single mother,
Are they
and you're
ghetto
trying
when
to
they
take
move?
care of your children, when a black child has 1 out of every 5 black child in this country has one parent that is currently incarcerated.
So
That
what? Oh my God!
Yeah.
This is the same mistake over and over again. So the person's incarcerated. Wonder why that happened. Whose fault is that?
exactly.
He's explaining why the ghettos become the ghettos, because the parenting isn't there, because the life of crime, because of these criminal rates, and it's like he's going to put that on somebody else aside from the criminal, aside from the parent, aside from the people in the community. Doesn't make any sense.
You should yell beta at him again.
Yeah.
Beta.
It's so crazy to see these guys just fail. Like their minds just don't work.
number is insane.
why are they
and I give
incarcerated?
you
Thank you.
because of systemic
Oh
racism.
my
because-
God!
Of course,
Okay,
of course it is.
you can't get any
Ding,
more.
ding, ding, ding.
Okay, you cannot get more of a crystallized version of the insanity and the weakness and the stupidity of this man. To say, why are they incarcerated? Because of systemic racism. I mean, I could write a fucking 10-page novel. That's a very short novel. A 10-pound novel. Exactly. I could go on and on describing how fucked up that way of thinking is. I mean,
Has he ever done an interview this long? Like
No.
he seems to be going really long with this song.
yeah, for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think he was sort of feeling it. I don't know. He knew he had one on the hook.
Oh yeah. I'm at
Did they
everything.
commit a crime?
Unequal because of the
Did they
unequal
commit a
way.
crime to go there?
Because of the
Did they
What is
commit a crime?
Like
What is
my-
a crime?
crime.
What is a crime? Okay, so now,
What is
so,
this word?
that's
crime,
incredible.
murder, blah, whatever.
right. So, what a pivot! What a shifting of the goalposts that was.
Jesus.
So, wait a minute. How did it start? He said, these places turn to ghettos because 1 in 5 black dudes are in jail. And then
He's going to mention pot.
yeah, he could go to pot right now, or he could go to we shouldn't even have drugs be illegal.
Yeah.
So he then said, so the problem is they're in jail. And then he goes, well then, but they're in jail because they committed crimes. And he goes, what is crime? Like, I mean, that totally undermines your previous point, which is that they're in jail. If you're saying being in jail is a problem, you're not. We're all in agreement that people should be in jail for committing crimes, right? No, he goes back beyond that. It's like crime shouldn't be a thing. So if you think if we eradicated crime and just destroyed all the jails, you think the black ghettos would just be better? That's insane. They'd be filled with fucking criminals and super predators. It would be horrible. It'd be the worst
they
thing
just
for
make
them.
their own law systems there. They would be ass backward.
Oh, hell yeah.
minor drug possession when white people get off on
Did
it, but
they
black
commit-
people.
Yeah, white people get off on minor drug possession. He went to that standard, stupid talking point that's been debunked 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Marina was right.
A crime.
If white,
Did they commit a
what
crime?
is a crime?
Oh, you don't know what a crime is?
What is a crime? I don't think crime
Like,
is.
you don't know what a
Go back to
crime
Turkey.
is?
You don't know what a crime is?
Okay, what is no? I want you to describe to me exactly
I
what
wanna
you
go-
think.
What is a crime? Okay, so this is now just, I mean, intellectual masturbation, because
He told him to go back to Turkey.
yeah, for him to not understand what a crime is, you know, he's
There's
obviously
some
he's
Jordan
obviously
Peterson levels.
yeah, he's playing dumb, but it's because he doesn't have anything to say, and it's just like I don't know, it's like a smokescreen. It's really tiresome. It's a tiresome ploy that he's doing.
think a
back to
crime is,
something
and then
else.
we can talk about it because
I wanna
unjust laws
I want to go back
should
to
be
something
broken.
else. I want to go back to
Unjust
something else you
Yeah.
tried to rush
if
away
a,
from.
If a law
So
is
have
not
you
just,
seen
you
have you
break that
seen
law,
ghettos?
Jesse. What?
Have you seen ghettos?
I have. Yes, I already told you.
And have you noticed that
black
when black people first move in those areas, they're beautiful areas created by white people?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, I don't.
Get
No,
it.
I don't.
Well, I mean, you could. I mean, look, if he's talking about Compton, I'm sure if you go back in the history of Compton, I'm sure it was like a nice
Yeah.
white neighborhood at some point, and now it's a fucking gang banging hub. South Central wasn't always South Central. You have to add the blacks to get it to act and behave like a black community. So, yeah, Detroit, perfect example. Detroit used to be. Michael Moore was raised there. I mean, this is like just suburban white area, car manufacturing, hub and all that. And then the blacks came in, things changed. Doesn't mean it's inevitable or necessary, but that is what happened.
I don't agree with that.
You haven't
perspective
noticed
at all.
that?
No, I have not noticed it.
You haven't. How long you been in this country?
10 years now?
And you
10
haven't noticed
years.
that black people turn beautiful areas into ghettos?
Yes, because I don't think that's reality.
I don't think that's reality. Very convincing. Does he have the statistics on that?
Good argument.
Yeah,
good
I
argument.
mean,
You say they're doing it because it's not reality?
No, your perspective is completely broken on this issue.
why?
Amazing.
That you think black people just move into a neighborhood and then like mess it up.
They do.
So, Hassan, how did the black neighborhoods get bad?
Yeah.
Like, how?
Eye rolling.
So, what is the other theory? That all the black neighborhoods were great, all black cities were awesome, and then white people came in and, I don't know, made pot illegal and then threw everybody in jail, and that ruined the parenting.
Yeah.
And like, well, what do you like? What? How does he think it happened?
How?
By
And why?
First of all, they have children out of wedlock. They don't train their kids.
Like you did.
They bring drugs and crime. They destroy. They don't cut the grass. They don't paint the house.
You don't cut the grass.
And they blame it on the white man.
Okay.
Are white people to blame for that?
I think the system is to blame, not specific.
What system? Why is that the same system is producing great neighborhoods? So how do you account for that? Anyone?
He just scapegoating. He just had to
White
place the blame on
Who is
something.
the
But I
system?
already told you the existing.
So are
structure
white
that we live
people the
under.
system?
Structure.
White people have been in controlling positions
Are they the
for
system,
a very
though?
long time. I wouldn't
Are
say that
white
they are the
people-
system.
Well, who
no,
are
because
the-
white people are also
what color
exploited.
is the system?
Why do you have to have
So
one?
now he's shifting from race baiting and race vulturing, which is my new favorite word. He's shifting from that to his fuck capitalism. So it's weird how he sort of clicks from one to the other.
Yeah.
So it's like, look, white people get exploited too, which brings me back to the proletariat must rise up and have a revolution. Like,
Yeah.
so it's weird how it's the fact that it's the neo-Marxism. So the neo-Marxism of applying the traditional Marxist viewpoints of class conflict to racial conflict. He switches between those. He's going from Marxism to neo-Marxism back and forth.
Eventually, it's going to get back to loaves of bread.
Oh, it's always back.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm waiting for someone to make sense of this whole conversation using bread as an analogy, because how else can we understand things?
Specific target.
Well,
Do you not
what color is
understand that
the
we can
system?
address systemic
Who
inequality?
is
Do you
the
not understand that we can
systemic
fight?
Who is the system?
It's not a singular person.
But how will we recognize it when we see it?
It doesn't exist.
Is this how you tackle issues at every step of the way?
How
it has
will
to be
we
one
recognize
person?
the system
Do you
when we
think
see
that?
it?
Do you think it's
So
just like
we'll
one
be
person is
safe from the
racist and that's
system.
why the issue?
Listen,
That's why we have problems.
So we can avoid the system.
It's
How
not
will
about
we
avoiding the
recognize
system.
it?
You can't. You exist under this system. You exist under this
What
unequal
system is that?
Capitalism.
You don't like capitalism?
I do not like capitalism.
Then why don't you go?
Okay, so let me understand this. Capitalism is a system that is inherently unequal, inherently breeds inequality, say. And what are we to do about that? So some people succeed, some people don't succeed. Now, it just so happens that the black people in America are not succeeding at all. And they tend to be the victims of this system. Now, there are winners in the system and losers, and the blacks always are the losers, apparently. Couldn't it be said that blacks could win at the system of capitalism? I mean, some obviously have. Jesse has. All the rappers and all the sports stars have. So he's still not addressing, like, he's going to the safe ground of fuck the whole world, fuck America, fuck capitalism. When he gets tired of losing at the arguments based on race, he just goes to, this vague argument that the entire economy is broken and this will always yield bad results, even though it yields the best results in the modern world.
He's doing the teen angst thing in his 30s.
How so?
Hassan.
He has rage, but he doesn't have a point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I could see that. The title of this is TYT's Hassan Piker praises socialism. I mean, that's giving him a pass. He doesn't believe in socialism. He's a communist.
Yeah, he's way past that.
Yeah, it's not. This is like people freak out on Bernie Sanders. Like they would fucking lose their shit if Hassan ever got into power. Imagine that. Imagine Hassan being the next
President Piker.
Congressman Hassan Piker.
Went to Turkey.
Turkey has capitalism as well.
So why don't you go to a socialist country?
There's
where
no
you don't
socialist country.
Are you a socialist?
There is no socialist country. Wow.
What?
So how do you think he's going to answer, are you a socialist?
I think he'll probably dance around it. Well, I'm more like blah, blah, blah.
I think he's going to... No, I think he's going to say yes. Or he's going to be specific.
I've forgotten I watched this right now.
He's going to say...
I'm a this or that type socialist or something.
He's going to say, well, there's a lot of different forms of socialism. And it's different theories of Leninism and this and that. But he's going to say something like, oh, homie, I'm most definitely a socialist, but I'm way more than that. But he's not going to say it in those terms. Here.
Homie.
I don't like labels, but I would I find myself aligning a lot with Marxist principles. Yes.
So
well, he came out and said it. So now, Cenk and Anna and all people that know and associate with him are right now putting their hands in their head, like they're just burying their faces, going, "What are you, a socialist? I don't believe in labels, but I'm a Marxist." I mean, how the fuck is this guy planning on just existing in America as a person who creates content, as a person who is trying to influence the minds of other people? We have an open communist among us who has, it's just, the idea is as bad as it ever was. It's not like he's putting a new healthy spin on it. This is, it is similar and akin to a guy saying, yes, I'm a Nazi. Yes, I'm a National Socialist. What of it? It's right up there with that.
Not a capitalist.
No, I certainly criticize capitalism, yes.
So why do you work?
Do you think people don't work under
Why do you work? I'm asking, why do you work if you're a socialist?
Because I need to survive.
No, you don't. You can go on the welfare and get free stuff.
Do you think welfare would be enough for me to survive?
So you need more.
No, I need more to survive.
Do you support
that is a massive problem. I think if the welfare state was better, maybe I wouldn't work.
Do you support the Me Too crowd?
What?
Inspirational.
Jesus.
Inspirational.
That's an interesting question. I don't know what you mean.
What, if the welfare state was big enough, I wouldn't work?
Yeah.
What a thing to say. What a thing to have on your record.
I mean, proud anchor, baby.
Hey, guys, let's build a welfare state somehow. I'm not sure exactly, but and everyone will get paid and nobody can do jobs, and I'm sure it'll work out. Like, shit will get done, things will be repaired, things will be delivered. I don't know. I'm sure we'll still have a profit incentive for ingenuity and for technological advancements, things like that. The private space programs will probably still flourish when everybody's just chilling back on welfare and playing video games all day. I mean, the guy really needs to have his mouth stapled. Like, he's so dumb, it's painful.
Yeah.
By that,
those women are into the Me Too thing. Do you support that?
There are plenty of women that I probably would have disagreements over
Do you
a lot of
support the
issues
Me
within
Too
the Me
crowd?
Too movement.
The movement.
Me Too as a movement.
Do you support the Me Too movement?
Me Too as a movement, as long as it is about empowering not just women, men as well, or victims of sexual assault to come out and
Do you
speak about these
support the
issues,
Me
then
Too
yes.
movement?
Yeah.
You do?
Why is that such a hard question? Like, he's afraid to take a stance
and
on
then
the
he
Me Too?
answers it in the end anyway, so it's like, why couldn't you do that right away?
Yeah.
I do. Yes.
What will you do when they accuse you or a male member of your family of...
They already have. Cenk was kicked out of the Justice Democrats because of the Me Too movement. And
Yeah.
Hassan has had articles written up about him and all of his shitty commentary and behavior on social media. The
Oh
guy's
yeah, didn't he have a pickup artist show?
yeah, he's a frat bro. I mean, the guy's dude. Cenk used to do videos. Name that camel toe.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Me to them.
I would fight back against it if it's not real.
You know it's coming, right?
What do you mean
It
by
already
They
that?
will
came.
end up accusing you.
Okay.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
What?
As long as look.
What? What do you mean? Yeah, I'm okay with them accusing me of sexual. What? As long as it's true, then yeah, please accuse me of it. Stupid.
Yeah.
If it's not real, then we can have a conversation about it.
And
In
you're
my
okay
instance,
with
I know it's
them?
not real. So
Hey, yeah.
Oh yeah, you think that's how it's gonna go?
Yeah,
son?
exactly. Hey, the entire world just formed a lynch mob against me and convicted me in the court of public opinion that I'm a sexual deviant. But I'm not, so we'll just have a conversation and I'm sure that'll
Let's
clear
have a
it up.
conversation.
Yeah.
Guys. Let's clear. Yeah, it'll go
Exactly.
well.
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're okay with them because you're
And,
not
you know,
going to be.
I'm surprised Brock Turner hasn't had that conversation with the world because he didn't do anything and he's seen as a monster. But yeah, interesting.
People make false accusations, and that's genuinely terrible. But it's not the reality. The reality is that more often than not, the
So
real
most of the women-
accusations and the real people who actually assault people don't get punished.
So most of the women
the
are lying?
victims-
Are you saying most of them are lying?
No, I'm not saying most of them are lying. I'm saying
Well, what are you gonna
most
do
of
when they
those
come
are
for
not.
you?
Most
What
of those
will
are
you
not
do?
lies, and even when it's real, and
What
even
will
when
you
it
do
goes
when
under
they come for
prosecution.
you or your
What?
Uncle Jink?
What do you mean?
Jeek.
Jink?
Jeek. I think I heard Jeek. I've never.
There was an N in there, I think.
You heard an N? I just heard Jink.
I think I heard Jink.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's go
Gene.
back.
I heard too.
Are
For
not.
you.
Most
What
of those
will
are not
you do?
lies, and even when it's real, and
What
even
will
when
you
it
do
goes
when
under
they come for
prosecution.
you or your Uncle Jink?
What do you mean?
Jink.
What will you do when they come for you?
That's great.
Bad
I'll
boy.
defend myself.
Bad boy.
I'll defend myself.
I knew he was
Okay.
going to do
But-
that.
You're
see-
supporting
Yeah.
evil? Mark my word, they're going to come for you,
Okay.
your uncle, and every other male in your family.
They're coming for your aqua and every other. Jesse Lee's tried to say uncle, and Google thinks it said aqua. That's wonderful.
I got to ask.
Okay, can we just really quickly, briefly state something?
Yes.
Okay. Believing women does not mean that everyone who's been on a bad date or whatever needs to be thrown in jail. Believing women just means don't reflexively disbelieve women, because up until this moment, we reflexively disbelieve women.
What? No, we don't. Did you hear this bullshit?
Weird.
What a weird straw man.
Up until this moment,
Yeah,
right
no.
now.
Yeah. Oh, but before this wise 27-year-old told us not to disbelieve women out of habit, we were just saying that fucking whore is probably lying.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Find
That's a weird way
ways
to
to say, no, this
Have
person
you ever
is
met
doing
an
it for
honest
money.
woman?
What?
Have you ever met an honest woman?
Yeah, I've met
Have
plenty
you,
of
you
honest
met an
women.
honest woman?
Wow, you really hate women,
No,
don't
do
you?
you have you? I'm just asking. Have you ever met an honest
Yes.
woman? So what about all those girls that you lied on you and you broke up with them?
They were honest too.
They were telling the
What?
truth
They
about
lied
you?
on you,
I mean,
but they were
yeah,
honest.
I think so.
Oh.
We left on good terms.
I gotta ask you one other
Wait, why
thing.
do you have this such a
About
why do you have such
Steve.
a skewed perspective on women in general?
Let me ask you about Steve.
What happened to you? Why
Do
did
you know who Congressman?
Do you guys see the
Oh, stop, Hassan.
Yeah.
Jeez. Man.
what did he just say?
He's saying, why do you have such a skewed view?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
what
really
happened to you?
Do you
Yeah,
guys
what
see?
happened? He's trying to play that whole.
Right. Sad. Do you guys see the closed captioning?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You
I-
know who comes mustiness. What's happening?
mustiness is being talked about, but I love the fact that the closed captioning doesn't specify who's talking. It's just one stream of text,
Oh, yeah, true.
which is essentially what it's like to hear this conversation because they talk over each other so much. So
Yeah.
I feel like me and the closed captioning are sort of in the same boat of just, oh my God, where am I?
Yeah.
Musty.
Steve Keenest.
Wait, yeah, he's
Who is he?
white nationalist he's a congressman from
What made him
Iowa.
a white nationalist?
He's white, constantly talks about how you can't have
What made him a
He's
white
white.
nationalist? He's white. Doesn't that say everything? Why is he a white derogatory term? because he's white, for starters. So what more proof
Yeah.
do you need that he's a fucking evil person? Wow.
Have babies with other people's. You can't build a civilization on other people's babies. He is. He also.
That's so not a phrase.
Yeah.
Way to steel man the guy. Yeah, that's exactly my point. You can't build a civilization on other people's babies. All right. What's the context?
Literally supported an avowed open white nationalist for mayor of Toronto, Faith Goldie, who recited the 14
Really?
words.
Goldie.
So
Toronto talk, Marino. Who's Faith Goldie?
Damn. She's ex-rebel.
You cut out ex-rebel
Cut
media.
out again.
Yeah, I think she used to work for Rebel Media. She's stupid. She's
Just
an idiot.
right winger or whatever.
Yeah. Typical.
Yeah. So if you're associated with Faith Goldie, you're basically Satan.
She didn't have a chance in hell of winning.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who cares? Who cares? Like, whatever with this guy. What is he from, Iowa?
Yeah.
Who cares?
I would say that those are some pretty clear indicators that this person is a white nationalist, if not a white supremacist.
And so, when did it become wrong for white people to stand
when
up?
did it become wrong for white
for
people to be white
people to
nationalists?
stand up for their country.
1942.
It became wrong.
So he didn't. So right there, Hassan just interrupted Jesse and said, "When did it become okay for white people to become white nationalists?" And when the actual
Yeah.
statement was, "When did it become wrong for white people to stand up for their country?"
Yeah.
So this is quite literally talking past each other. But white nationalism, that first of all, let it be known, him bringing up the Nazis is an attempt to smear white people with the moral shame of what the Nazis did, which is fucking ludicrous. How about the moral pride that you should have for what the Germans have accomplished, for several hundred years, but also since World War II. They have the best economy in Europe. They are a glorious people to behold, and you should all visit Germany. Do we get to bask in the glory of the accomplishments of the Germans today? If we're going to be feeling shame for what the Nazis did, that is. And the idea that the Nazi movement was a white nationalist movement, and that if you are a white nationalist, you want to be like the Nazis. I mean, all of these points that he sort of floats out there, none of them are even close to being legitimate.
No, not at all.
And then, of course, the 1942 thing is just stupid as fuck. How could you say? And he talks about history and understanding history, and he's like, "No, 1942."
Yeah, that's when it became wrong to stand up for your country.
But I mean, it doesn't even matter. It's like him getting 1942 wrong is just an error in and among a point which has no bearing on anything. And it's just a weak ass attempt to be like, "Hey, whites, you're fucking. Remember that naughty thing you did once? Fuck you, whites." So stupid.
1942 for white people
When we
to stand up.
when we ended the
Let me
Nazi
finish this
scourge,
thing.
yes.
We ended the Nazi scourge in 1942. Wow, I gotta go reread history. Jesus.
Yeah,
It
we got it all
became
wrong.
wrong
It was
for
wrong
white
even before
people.
then.
It became wrong for white people to stand up for their country in 1942.
Right. So we are now tethered, attached at the hip to the Nazi people. So if you, as a white person sitting at home, have any pride in yourself, if you're not a self-hating white, if you want to identify as white in any way, culturally or nationally even, if you understand that there's something called a white majority country, and if you are in favor of that, you are like a Nazi. You are exactly like a Nazi. I mean, how he would defend that point or make that point is beyond me.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's
Look
just
at his body language too.
it's wild to me. I mean, this is like saying, to bring it into Alf's Brown universe. If I said, Alf, if you're proud of being, if you're proud of being Peruvian, you know what that means? That means that you are as bad as the cannibalistic Aztec warriors who performed human atrocities and were beheading people.
Yeah.
Now, you might point out the Peruvians aren't the Aztecs. And I'd say, yeah, but they were both brown. That's essentially the point. And it's like,
he's making.
Right. And it's like, wait a minute. Why can't I be proud to be Peruvian? Why can't the Argentinians be proud to be Argentinian? Why can't the Colombians be proud? Well, because the second you start having pride in a thing like a nation, or, and if you recognize that that nation is primarily one color, then you're kind of like, a bloodthirsty Aztec warrior. You kind of are like that. It's so stupid. Fucking hell.
You're saying that?
When the Nazi regime
Are you
was
saying that?
destroyed it became wrong to be a white nationalist. If the Nazis had won, we would probably have a drastically different reality.
So Steve King stood.
And that reality is shown in the TV show on The Man on the High Castle.
Yeah.
Yeah, go check it out.
Stood up for his country.
He did not stand
and
up for
you're
his
calling
country.
him, okay.
He stood up for his broken understanding of what this country is that does not reflect reality. This is not a white country.
Okay, so let me ask this.
What does that mean? What do you mean it's not? This is not a white country. Well, this is just him being emotional. This has always been a white country, majority white country. That still means something. To pretend it doesn't mean something is ridiculous. It's still majority white country, far less now. And yeah, it's like there are some larger points to discuss there, which is that very high majority white countries do extremely well. Go visit them yourself. Go, if you don't believe me, go to Australia just like I did. Go to Canada just like I did. Go to Switzerland like I am now. Go to Germany. Go to England. Go to the parts of England that are more white, and you'll see. You'll witness it. Go to Sweden. Go to Malmo in Sweden, then go to Stockholm, rich suburb in Stockholm. You tell me the difference. And if you don't think that's important, just because of your feelings, you don't want to talk about it, you don't want to recognize that reality, then admit that. Admit that and shut the fuck up, because the adults are talking.
There's a woman in Congress.
#adult.
By the name of Rashid Tlaib.
Yes.
A Muslim.
Yes.
And
There's two. There's another one.
Right.
Ilhan Omar is another Muslim. Yes.
One of them is a lesbian. And so, do you support Rashid and the other Muslim is against America? They're not for America.
Why do you think that?
Do you support them?
Why do you think that?
Do you support them?
Are they against America?
Yes, they are.
His foot.
Yeah, he's agitated.
His body language.
But of course they're against America because they are regressives. This being anti-America is the whole thing. I mean, this is what TYT is all about. They're open about it. They're like, they only want America is if it looks like them and if it abides by their every whim. They don't actually like the concept of America.
Support them.
You have to tell me why they're against America.
Do you support the Muslims?
I don't think they're against America.
You support the Muslims?
Yes, I support the Muslims.
But you're against the white people who stand up for their country.
Wait, what? I am against.
He always does that, doesn't he? Wait.
Remember
when he was going over your video?
Yeah,
he did it so much.
Wait, what?
Over and over again.
The fuck? Bro. Yeah, so Jesse Lee, he's pointing out, he's saying like, look, if you're pro-Muslim and you're in favor of that identity, so Muslims are allowed to stick up for themselves, Muslims can have their own countries, Muslims can be majority Muslim countries, but then when it turns around and it's white people doing the exact same thing, how do you not see that that's a hypocrisy within your principles? And he's like, well, because one's Muslims, which I'm a Muslim, and the other's white, and I'm also white, but doesn't make sense.
White nationalists.
Is it
I'm
wrong
not against white people.
Is it wrong for white?
So what about Muslim nationalists? I mean, Turkey's 99% Muslim. What are we talking about here?
White nationalists.
Is it
if
wrong?
they were fundamentalists, if they were ISIS
fundamentalist white people. That's what we've come to. Okay.
sympathizers, then I would be against them too. But if they are just Muslims, I'm not going to be against just Muslims.
Is it wrong for white people to stand up for their country?
If they're white nationalists, yes.
Is it wrong for white people to stand up for their country?
Here we go again.
You have to define what you mean by that. You have to elaborate a little bit so
I'll
I can
ask one more
understand what
time.
you're saying. No. Repeating the question is not elaborating further.
He's talking slower and louder. That was wonderful.
Perfect.
Keep scrolling on your iPad, Jesse, but it's not going to make more sense. You got to give me a description.
Is it wrong for white people to stand up for their country?
Is it wrong for white people to stand up for their country?
I mean, here's the thing. It's a trick question for Hassan because A, he doesn't like white people. B, he doesn't like the country in question. And C, he doesn't like the economic system that runs the country. So he's like, I don't like any part of this question.
Yeah.
So I'm against all of it. But yeah, I guess technically it's okay for them to do it. He's not going to concede that.
Have to elaborate a little bit further on this. Do you mean white nationalists, or do you just mean white people are standing up for their country in the sense that they're fighting against racism, they're fighting against inequality? In that, yes, it is absolutely correct and the right thing to do for white people and all people to fight against this sort of thing. But if it's white people saying that this is a white-only country and we need to preserve our white culture, and it's a completely flawed perspective that is not real at all, and it is just a fantasy for fragile whites to to think that
we
they
haven't
are,
told
to
that.
think that they are.
Is
that
it
this
wrong
that,
for
that,
white people to stand up for their country?
Okay.
Fragile whites. Wow. Fragile whites. And look how mad he is right now. Like,
Yeah,
he
sounds like
is
a college student in the quad.
he is the fragile white of which he speaks.
Yeah.
Do you not want to hear my answer?
All this stuff you're saying is too long and kind of.
Okay. It's
Is it
counterproductive.
wrong for white people to
I can
stand up for their
simplify it
country?
for you as well if you would
Give
like.
me- you will.
But not
Give me a
everything.
yes or
but
no.
it's not a yes or no
Why not?
question.
Why not?
Because you're
nuanced.
framing it in an inappropriate way.
How's
It
that
is dishonest.
inappropriate?
Because a yes or no question, if you front load it in a similar fashion to what I asked you, which is, did you stop beating your wife? It's a yes or no question.
I'm not married.
Are you asking me
Did
that?
you stop beating
I
your
just
wife?
told you I don't have a wife.
Okay, but did you?
So
Okay, did you
is it
stop
wrong-
beating your son?
Is it wrong for white people?
But you didn't answer. It's a yes or no question.
You
But it's a
evaded
yes
the
or no question. It's not real. You don't have a wife,
you're
but it's a
not
yes
gonna-
or no
you're
question.
not gonna answer
Just like your
So you're not
white
gonna answer
question
that.
You're
is
not
not a
gonna
real
answer that.
question.
You're
It's
not
a yes
gonna
or
But how is that not a real question?
It is a real question.
Is it okay for
yeah.
white people to stand up for their country?
It's a very simple one to.
And you know what's crazy? If he had started it and said, "Is it okay for black people to stand up for their country?" he would have said yes instantly.
Yeah, of course.
He wouldn't have been like, "Well, are they black nationalists? Is it the Nation of Islam?"
Yeah.
What do you mean? Oh God! All right, we're almost done.
Answer that question, right?
I can
Yeah.
answer the question, but
Okay,
I don't want to.
so I
I
ask
want to
again,
make sure that
is
we
it wrong for
contextually are on the
white-
same page.
Is it wrong for white people to stand up for their country?
Okay. Did you stop beating your wife?
You're not gonna answer that.
Did you
I
stop
got-
beating your wife?
I got one more.
you stop beating your
I'm
wife?
a nationalist. I'm a
But
black.
wait a minute. How is that like? Did you stop beating your wife?
No, it's not at all.
Yeah.
What is confusing about white people? What is confusing about their country?
More like, is it okay for men to beat their wives, right? is it okay for white people
Right,
to
just
stand up for
answer.
their country?
Yeah.
So it's a really simple question, but he complicates it himself because
So
of his
funny.
own.
I love how stubborn Jesse is. Just stubborn like an
Hey,
ox.
asking the question.
It's great.
So funny.
Black nationalist.
Are you?
Does that make me black supremacist?
Are you black and also a nationalist, or are you black in the
I
sense
am
that
a
you're a
black
separationist and you want to have a
You're
separate
not
black-only
answering the
state?
question. I'm a black nationalist.
But that
Does
word
that
means
make me a
something.
black supremacist?
That means something, and you need to describe to me what that means.
They're fading out.
Are you a separationist? Are you a segregationist? Do you believe that black people should have their own
You're not going to
areas?
answer that either, right?
No, but I need to understand, Jesse.
Do you stand up
But
for?
you're not
Do
not
you
helping
put
me
America
understand.
first? Do you stand for your country, America?
Sometimes, and sometimes I'm very critical of the things that America
Do
does.
you stand for your country?
Sometimes I said, yeah.
Does that make you a Muslim nationalist?
Wait, but when you said
Or
my country,
atheist
I meant
nationalist?
America.
Right, or atheist nationalist.
Interesting.
Does that make you one?
Do you think that just tying along nationalism into anything is
That
the,
what you
is the
do with
problem? I
white
think
That's
it's
what,
wrong
yeah,
because
that's,
I'm a
that's what he's doing. He said, "I'm a globalist." Oh my God.
globalist.
What does that mean to be a globalist?
I stand for all human beings, no matter where they live. I don't think that just because a baby was
Brave.
born in Indonesia.
Brave Hassan,
Is
very
he,
brave.
is he running for office? Wow, he stands for all people. The cat lady loved that.
Amazing.
Wow. He's really helping the world with his Twitch streams.
I hate murder.
That they deserve a much worse life
Well, I'm against poverty too, so just for the record.
Wow.
than
Devin,
myself.
that's-
It's all probability. I didn't earn
welcome.
So
the
you don't
right
put-
to.
you don't
I
put
didn't
America
earn the right
first.
to be born into an affluent family. So yes, I think that all
You don't
human
put
beings
you don't
deserve
put
a
America-
dignified life.
You don't put America first.
No, of course not.
Oh.
A woke bae is a boyfriend or, usually male, significant other who is progressive and enlightened in general.
Oh my God.
He is aware of current events and is sympathetic to plights against racism and sexism.
Amazing. My final question.
Okay.
Did you have fun?
Did you have fun?
In this interview, there were times that were fun, and then there were times where it was genuinely concerning.
Ask him again.
Amazing. Thank you for coming.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you all for tuning in, folks. It's amazing.
I love how they
Don't
had to
forget
fade
to
away
like,
from them
follow,
talking because it
tweet,
just kept
subscribe,
coming.
share. And we have merchandise on Fallen State, and we appreciate your support. Thank you again for coming, man.
Thanks for
Say
having
hello
me.
to your uncle for me.
I will.
All right.
Wow.
Well,
That was
Those were
something.
like the perfect two people together for an hour.
Well,
That was something really
mm.
different.
Yeah.
What the fuck? There's 440 people watching.
Oh shit.
I told you, Devin.
You guys bring them in.
Yeah,
That's wild,
Yeah.
man.
And Marino need to do a team show.
we should.
We'll be rolling in dough.
We're gonna steal Devin's audience.
Oh my god, isn't that weird though? Like to actually stop and consider that.
Yeah.
Like, were you guys watching the chat?
Every once in a while, but barely.
Yeah.
It's funny that you really become free to be yourself and to not like live in
Yeah,
fear.
I feel less pressure when I'm on smaller channels like this.
Yeah, we've already well surpassed our discussion on Norman Bates and the Bates Motel.
Yeah.
Well, I
Still
thought
haven't gotten on Friday though.
What happened?
Said we still
Pardon?
haven't gotten our Font Friday though.
Oh, Font Friday. Yeah, we'll do another one. We'll discuss fonts. We'll discuss pop culture. Something else will be.
We should watch another movie and talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Pick one.
I find that.
Well, you guys need to start watching Game of Thrones, but
Oh,
a movie per se. Well, yeah.
yeah.
Take suggestions.
I
We'll
mean,
figure it out.
we should do one when
new-
Stranger Things starts up again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I'll look. I'll see what's out there. You know, we're all swamped with content. There's too much stuff to keep track of. I mean, it's too much to keep track of. Not even just to watch. There's no way you're watching everything. But
Because Grant's gonna talk to you about Eurovision. Like I said, he wants to get on that.
oh, for sure, that's obviously going to be a theme
Yeah.
in the future. But that was fun, guys. Thank you for rolling up. I'm not gonna. We've been talking for a while. How long have we been talking?
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a couple hours.
Yeah.
2 hours maybe.
Yeah,
A little over.
and we were talking before that. I mean, we weren't streaming. But yeah, that was really fun. Chat, thanks for showing up. Hope you learned nothing from Hassan.
Yeah.
And but it was fun just to do for the record, just to cleanse our souls, just to restore order, balance to the force. I think it was necessary. Marino, hopefully people don't blow shit up outside your place tonight. And
Fuck, man, that was so weird.
very scary.
Yeah.
And Alfie boy, you sleep well, and I will sign us off out of this, and we'll get back to talking Eurovision.
All right.
All right, guys. Thanks very much.
Bye, guys.
Bye.